Alright, we're going live.
It actually does enough damage to kill the horse, otherwise that's
No.
going to be horrifying.
Oh my god!
No, make it.
Guys, what I really want is a plan to get it so that the player has to kill the horse themselves.
Oh, that's evil. I like it. Or
choose hero. Your
interesting
love
idea.
for your horse.
Interesting idea. Have it so that they steal the horse, and then do a Full Metal Alchemist, and they merge the horse with another person.
Oh my
No.
god!
And so they're left with a monstrosity that will talk to them, and they can love and care for it, or they can murder it. Go full
Well, that went
FMA
dark.
on them. Do it. Do it, Sam. Do it. Sam,
Yeah.
Sam's either writing down ideas, or he's prepared to leave, or he's crashed. I think he crashed. I can't tell. He's being so quiet.
Oh my god!
Okay.
All
Alright, well, also Jamie, we're on stream.
Okay.
Yep, we are live. We are actually, streaming. Yes. So, hello
Let's
everybody.
begin.
Everybody, welcome. Usual stuff. Alright. Let's see. Who have I got here with me today? I don't remember. Sudz is having internet issues. Apparently his internet providers are quote-unquote testing the line on Sundays. In other words, they're cutting off his internet for a couple of hours, and it always falls on D&D, because that is an unfortunate side effect. He has requested that it happen on Mondays, but apparently that hasn't gone through yet, or they're stupid. Welcome to internet companies, everyone. On another side note, fuck BT. Fuck BT.
Hey, I'm eating so that I can play D&D.
Yeah, that's fine. You need to eat. I'm not going to stop you.
Need that energy.
And if I did stop you, you'd probably riot, so.
Yeah.
Now, I'm just going to move the canvas. People watching at home, don't scream. I'm moving it. Because I've just realised it's
Now,
wrong.
come on, it's time for Yuki Golem sex.
No. I will not
Yeah.
allow that to go through. I will murder Pangolice before I allow that to be the official name you're going to give it.
Hey.
There we
I just made a joke. They're the ones that actually get to do it.
What, murder it?
Yeah, probably.
Alright. There we go. Modified. I don't know how long it's been like that, but ever since I got the new overlay, I think I haven't fixed it. Alright, there we go.
Yes.
Yes.
Where's this tournament bracket?
Where's the tournament bracket? Why don't you look in the Dawnseekers channel and scroll up like 2 posts to the document I posted?
I see.
There you
Loving the passive aggressive.
But where is ours? Oh, it's on the right. Okay.
Yeah. Wow.
Shut up.
Starts complaining. Immediately goes like, "Oh wait, I fucked up."
Classic Infernal moment. You guys have you give Liam a hard time. Just saying, you give Liam a hard time when you really shouldn't. Alright.
Never happened.
Yeah, of course. So yes, I am here with the current players of Harlan.
Hello.
Sam is technically here, but his PC's being a bit today. Simon.
Hello.
Will.
Oh.
In fact, you cut out then. Will? Will? Okay. Now it says you're
Hello?
transmitting, but I can't hear you. Oh. Is that my Discord or is that your Discord?
Oh god, I'm back.
Alright, welcome back, Sam.
You hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, hopefully this isn't a DOM issue. For those who don't get
Getting
that reference,
closer
go
to the
and find
laptop.
that reference in one of the previous episodes.
What,
Infernal.
like 90,000 years ago.
Yeah. Infernal.
That was actually how...
Ole.
Jamie.
Mm.
And back to Sam.
Hello.
There we go. Alright, hopefully everything's okay. I will hear shortly from Matt. And hopefully everything will be okay. Maybe we'll get Sudz partway through. Who knows? Either way, I need to get my special boss dice ready for this episode.
Special boss dice.
Yeah,
The weighted ones.
Special dice.
the
Special
weighted
dice,
ones. No,
special
they're my
coins.
D6s, Sam. You should know this by now.
I know full well that your D6s are. The thing is, they're not weighted, they're just shit.
There is an educated difference. No, you use them anyway
You
because they
can
look cheap.
see the inconsistent air bubbles in them, Chris. I
Wow.
don't know who approves clear dice where you can visibly see the air bubbles.
They were cheap plastic. They were like 30 dice for like £4. I ain't gonna.
And it
Put it in the deck.
shows.
I know. I'm gonna. Don't worry. I'll be picking up more dice later. Anyway, back to the proper introduction at hand, which started like 5 minutes ago.
Perfect.
Thank you to Zenosa for all the artwork gone through. You can see some of it along the side here. Ooh, very interesting. Well, actually, no, you can't see it because it's off screen. Now you might be able to. There we go. Also, thank you to Tabletop Audio for the free service you provide for sound and effects, everything that I ever need. Also, any maps which are made like this, battle maps, were made on Dungeon Pierce Studio. Any more detailed maps like this are made on Incarnate. Go and check each of those respected sources out. And I believe that is everything. So, let's get back to this Kaiju fight at hand. So, last session, our party of adventurers. Sasha, Queglod, Elsyan, Bern, Malcom, Ghaakt, and Rook spent some time going about their day as they usually would, finishing off the details for whatever it was they were doing last session, beforehand, which I believe was the arena competition, yes. Finishing off their small arena bouts and earning themselves a little bit of money, the party then proceeded to go back and relax. A couple of days later, nearing the mid portion of the tournament, they are invited by Hurricane and the members of the Steel Arena to go and participate in a snowman building competition. However, things aren't quite as normal. With the snowman building competition, the idea is to build a snow creature of varying design, where it will then be animated by the various white dragons, and it will become alive. After which it will proceed to fight against many of the other creatures that have been made and designed in this competition. And after you have finished your matches, you may proceed to modify your monsters in various ways to adapt to your new opponents and to maybe sway something that has occurred in a previous fight. Regardless, the party proceeded to split themselves into two teams. Team A and Team B. Team A included Ghaakt, Rook, and Bern. The three of them, together with their ingenious idea, made a buff Minotaur with a ice mustache and horns, a knuckle duster-like fist, and another one for grappling. It was completely shirtless, it had a flappy cape, and
it was beautiful.
And it looks fabulous.
Yes.
It is buff, and they contemplated giving it a penis.
As above.
Yep. Well, to be fair, that is fair.
It's just being modest.
Thrust weapon. Psh, snaps off. Golem dies instantly.
Oh God!
I figured out our third weapon, boys. A hint, it's not on either arm.
Oh, wait a second. I think I have a...
Simon, it's time to activate that enchantment.
Oh my God!
Hold on. Do I have that meme ready? No, I don't. I'm gonna have to find it later. All right. I'll find you guys a meme later that's best suited for that. I'll find it during the break. However,
As soon as Bern says that the weapon isn't on either arm, Ghaakt just goes, "Ah, yes, a knee weapon."
Ghaakt, the bard who doesn't get his life involved with sex. Anyway,
Yeah,
The anti-bard.
very true.
honestly,
Where-
I can't have it actually go the other way around.
Where they had made a more grappler brawling design for close-range fighting, the other team, containing Elsyan, Sasha, and Queglod, they come up with a more bestial design. They made a large pangolin or armadillo-like creature with a large hardened ice scale shell across its back a heavy-weighted tail, and a series of spiky bits that pop out from the back of it. The creature was designed to roll and charge, equipped with a maw of jagged, sharp icicle teeth to bite as a last resort. They had made a pretty sturdy creature, one that would withstand many blows from other brawl types, as well as be able to break the weapons of several foes, designed to be resilient, strong, and win the war of attrition. With these two golems made, and given names of Pangolice and Yuki Golem X, the party... Shut up. And the parties proceeded to fight off against their various opponents. Pangolice, in its first round, and the first ones to go up, went up against a foe known as Slicercool, a large humanoid form, with each of its arms replaced with large ice blades, a large counterweight attached to hair-like snow tendrils that went from the back of its head, an elongated snout, and with instead of feet, it had hooves. It was quick and fast, but lost its weapon early in the first round. With a series of nice heavy blows and breaking its weapons one by one, Pangolice came out on top, defeating its foe. As this occurred, the party was victorious, eventually immobilizing Slicercool, knocking it to the ground and holding it there. With that victory in place, Yuki Golem X took the field, walking on the large, muscly form of the Minotaur, flexing in the shatter of behind it as the snow rocketed into the air, giving it a beautiful display and entry for the rest of the crowd. Walking on the other side, however, was a different golem, known as Mayhem, a large bull-like creature with 3 large horns and spikes rupturing from its back and shoulders, pointed forwards, with a heavy emphasis on its charging capability, as well as a large portion of its grappling. With this fight about to take place, the party prepares. Okay, who is the leader of your party?
Rook. I petition Rook.
No,
God.
he's not yours.
I know.
Now, the one who's the leader will be the one giving the initial command. Everybody else will go with everybody else would be a manner of assisting, shall we say.
Will, you wanna?
Well,
We can't hear you if you're talking. Say your thing.
it might be best not to choose Will then.
Oh, wait, are you talking to me?
Yeah. Do you wanna be the leader?
Sorry, I was doing. Yeah, I could be the leader.
Cool.
Okay. In such a case, I guess we shall begin then. So, with Yuki Golem X standing on one side, fists raised and prepared, you see across the way the large gorilla form ready to fight. What is your first order?
What does the gorilla look like it's doing?
It doesn't look like it's doing anything, and the first orders haven't been given yet.
Let's see.
Also, do you want the white or the black die? These are my die. I roll for this in secret.
Decisions.
The
People
white
take the
die.
sexy black
This is to
die.
test if you're racist or not. Don't fall for it.
Take the sexy black die.
Okay, black die it is. Okay.
Racist.
I'm not
One
going.
was better.
I'm not going to tell you which one the boss die is, just to make it more fun.
I assumed it was the white die.
Guess you'll find out. Sam knows, if he remembers me putting it in the dice box.
I never remember anything, Chris.
That's fair. Alright, so, what is your first command to Yuki Golem X? Currently, the arena as you see it, just so if you are watching the stream, you can get a better look at it. The arena itself, I'm not going to use tiles for this as well. The arena itself is covered in snow. It has the basic walls around the outside, around the center, and the central column has been is left in place. The torches, however, have been removed.
You said
You
Mayhem
said
was
this thing has horns?
This thing has horns and it has an emphasis on charging. Yes,
I say we do a matador routine.
You said it was a bull or a gorilla?
gorilla. It has bull-like horns, but it is a gorilla.
Gorilla.
I'm already excited.
See, I
Back in a
kind of want to use our cape. Door cape.
Oh,
So you're gonna,
good call.
so you're going to use your cape to taunt it.
I'm going to taunt the gorilla with it. Ba-da-da-ba-da-da-da. Wait, what's that happened? For some reason, the laptop has decided that I do not need to be watching your stream. I need to be on the main page.
Well, you don't need to watch the stream. It's mostly just audio anyway.
Audio.
I do not want to watch Fortnite. Go away.
Okay. So are you taunting the gorilla, or
I'm
taunting
taunting
Mayhem?
the gorilla with.
Okay.
We are taunting the gorilla with.
Okay. Out the gate, you watch as Yuki Golem X holds out its cape in a show of bring it on, and the gorilla takes that offer. It stands there, kind of rears its head a bit, and begins to plow through the snow, running forward with a fast and heavy speed. Quick footfalls, and originally where you would have this would have been a bull. In this kind of gesture, you would have moved out of the way, easily dodging and then going in for a strike. This is a gorilla. And gorillas can turn quite fast. And as you go to dodge out of the way with the cape, it rams into you. All three horns piercing into the hardened torso. There's a little bit of crack and a break as the front horn, as part of it, jams into the central abs and torso, whereas the other two catch the shoulders of Yuki Golem X, holding it in place. As it begins to charge again, it goes to rear its head, almost attempting to fling Yuki Golem X as... I'm just going to call it Yuki. As Yuki grabs one of the horns, swinging around over the top of it now, in more of a acrobatic style. Now above it, taking no further damage from being flung, but also in a slightly advantageous position. The gorilla reaches up to strike against it as Mayhem goes to grab Yuki. Yuki tries to dodge out of the way. Landing on the ground, finds its leg caught by the other arm, as it can stand on two legs, not needing the frontal support. As it does so, Yuki finds itself being flung through the air and is now airborne. What is your next order?
Get wrecked,
Yeah.
apparently.
How's Yuki Golem going?
They're flying right
it,
now.
It doesn't look like Yuki has taken that much damage, but Yuki is
Okay.
currently airborne. Hitting the ground will be a substantial amount of bludgeoning.
Is the horse still
Right now
stuck?
is food.
Is the horse still stuck in the torso?
No, the horn's part of the gorilla.
No, I mean, is it still stuck in the torso? You said it jammed in.
Yeah, jammed in and it left a mark, a comfortable groove.
Oh.
Meaning if
so
it's
we don't have a
successful...
broken off horn to pull out and use as a weapon.
No, that means that if it successfully hits that spot again, it's going to be pretty bad for you guys.
Hmm.
You can easily... It looks like being airborne here, you can easily recover, but landing will leave you vulnerable. So it's up to you what you want to try and do here.
I think we'll leave us vulnerable. We should land somewhere where we'll have the advantageous position.
You don't exactly have control of that.
Yeah.
True.
Is
Why did
he
you ask
reach
me?
to grab with one of our free hands? It's not the grapple.
Is that your
Can
command?
we unfurl the cape like the bat cape and glide?
Is that your command?
Oh
Is,
god!
Can he reach it or no? Like, does it look like he's in reach?
What do you want to reach for?
What are you
Reach
trying to reach
for.
for?
The gorilla!
It flung you through the air. You're like 20 feet away from
Oh.
it, flying and airborne. And it's getting ready to charge on your landing position.
Is there some way we could perhaps delay our fall so it mistimes the charge?
Well, how about
You know what to do!
can we
Yeah, but
deploy
how?
the ice owl to distract it?
The ice owl.
The
Yes.
ice owl.
Hit it in the face.
It's in the face with the ice owl.
Okay. Right, is that your command?
Distract it with the owl. Distract it with the ice owl.
Is that your command?
Yes.
Yep. Alright. Okay. As you do so,
Okay.
Yuki landing on the snow as the ice owl takes off just before the land. The owl flies, hoots, shatters, and dissipates across into small pieces of ice as it hits hardened ice and shatters, not being a very robust design.
Well, did it distract the gorilla?
The gorilla takes very little notice and manages to charge, engaging and getting within close enough range. However, in the presence of doing so, Yuki manages to just about move out of the way, taking a relatively dangerous nick to the lower torso, closer towards the waist. As the nick comes into play, the gorilla spins around, repositioning its frontal horns and using its right arm to strike against your side. Yuki blocks the attack with its grappling arm, but as it does so, one of the horns tears through that arm. As you find Yuki standing back, the arm itself is no more. The gorilla stands there, slams its fists on the ground, grunts, and is preparing to move forward again. What is your command?
Whose idea was that shitty owl?
It was a try.
Alright, which arm did we?
You lost the grappling arm,
Okay.
which
There's only
means
one
What
thing
if-
to do.
which means
Should
there's
we
no
aim for the
right
horns? Try and take them out with the fortified arm. Knuckle.
So, do you want to punt? Well, we would have tried to take out the horns, but we've lost the hand that can grab the horns.
Not grab, like punch,
Okay,
destroy.
horns. How about we aim for the? I don't know. I want to aim for the face, I guess.
So the command is to aim for the face.
Any objections?
No,
I mean-
go for it. I mean, I'm at a
The
loss.
horns go in front of the face, so the horns reach first.
And in such a case,
Oh.
as the punch goes in,
Does our reach exceed our grasp?
as you go in for a uppercut against the gorilla, it strikes the gorilla just as the other horns hit the torso. You are knocked airborne. It is knocked upwards and slightly dazed from the attack. This gives you both an opportunity. As Yuki goes in for another strike again against the face, the knuckles hit, striking against it, leaving some bad puncture wounds. But at the same time, Yuki is now held airborne by the central horn, now jammed into its torso in that same spot, holding it in place. With the two of you in not the greatest position, Yuki reaches up to knock the horn out of the way, punching it, but without a grappling arm, can't move. Falls back onto the snow, leaving it vulnerable, as it takes a large shoulder barge and horn strike against the main torso. Yuki is looking pretty worse for wear, and the gorilla's taken only a few hits.
Destroy that fucking horn, please. Aim for the horn, central one.
Okay? Is that your command?
That's what I say. I don't know what.
Fine. We'll aim for the horn.
Okay.
Yeah.
Aiming for the horn this time. With the extra preparation and the understanding of that horn's a big issue, Yuki takes in its stride to instead of going backwards, takes one step forward into the range of the horns. The horn strikes past the face of Yuki, as Yuki lands a single uppercut against the base of the frontal horn, which snaps clean off. Sliding to one side, the large chunk of it dissipates, and with the two horns to the side, it goes to try and make its strikes against that. Yuki, being well prepared against this, brings up its one arm to block the one side, but as it swings in with the other one, there's no arm to defend it. Knocking the stump, Yuki takes a pretty bad hit to the shoulder as that portion of it falls away. With this in desperate measure, Yuki goes into more of an evasive maneuver, dodging out of the way of the individual attacks, landing a few blows, but ultimately not dealing any damage, but taking none either over those few seconds. What is your next command? Currently, you're on the ropes.
Apparently so.
Yeah. You take a few more hits and you're going down.
Way though, those horns.
How
those
stable
horns
does the
seem-
body look of the gorilla?
It's a gorilla. It's very missed leg day kind of gorilla. So it's quite well built, muscly wise on the shoulder brawn, but the small legs themselves aren't very well built, but they are packed. So they're going to be quite difficult to break, but they are certainly a weaker point and thinner point compared to the rest of its body.
I say we go for them. I don't like.
One seemed to be a lot more brittle than we initially thought.
Yeah, quite.
If only.
If only what?
We went for the horn. If only we took the bull by the horns.
God, I
What's your
I
command?
really.
What's your command,
Oh.
guys?
Break the other
Yeah.
horns.
Okay, that's your command. Going in for the strike against the other horns, Yuki goes for a punch, meeting one of the horns. Damage is done on both sides. Yuki's remaining
Fuck.
punching arm is not broken, but a few of the needles and icicles along the knuckles break off and shatter. As as one of the horns of the other one cracks a little bit and chips begin to come off of the icy form of it. The mayhem now, slamming its hands on the ground, instead goes into brawl with its two hands, knowing that it has the advantage against you. It reaches up. As it does so, it takes one large swing at the stump on one side, grabbing Yuki's punching arm and taking a strike against the torso. You are very much held in position and unable to do anything. Yuki is struggling, but manages to fend off the blows, moving and shifting its torso so that it's hitting against the hardened ice of the abs and chest, using its horns where it can to block a few of the strikes and to fend off any major attacks against it. But you are very much held in place and in a very difficult situation. What do you do?
I feel like the only intact weapon we have now is the mustache.
And the horns. I mean, it has horns.
Oh yeah, it does have horns.
I mean, it's a
Um,
Minotaur.
Still being grappled by the punching arm.
Yes, your punching arm is currently being held, and obviously you've lost your other arm, so you don't have that.
How is it being held? Like above us?
It is being held in a manner where it has its much larger fist for the gorilla wrapped around the forearm and elbow.
Oh.
Can we get its head with our horns?
Yeah,
Is that
I
your
think
command?
we should be in reach.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because he's not sound the same.
Meeting your head with it, you.
Oh, okay. You made a decision without me.
I'm taking the first general command, which is a unanimous decision or whatever it is. Remember, these are 6-second segments, so these are short decisions. Yeah. So as this occurs, the shout occurs from Bern or Rook, shouting out at Yuki to do something about it, to gore it. With its grappled arm, it goes in for a duck and a strike, landing underneath the jaw of the gorilla that had already been hit. A portion of its jaw in its packed snow falls away to the ground as it does so. The horns rear back, going for another strike, but as it does so, the gorilla pulls itself back, letting go of your punching arm and taking a step back. As this occurs, you take a strike forward. Horns bent down, they strike and dig into just above the neck where its head is currently bowed, before the punching arm curves in, striking against the right horn where the punching arm met, and snapping it clean off. Going into this advantageous position, Yuki Golem X sees its massive opportunity, and the gorilla takes another step back to get out of the gore range. Maybe it's too late, who knows? But as it does so, Yuki takes another step forward, with a single uppercut, smashes the head from the lower portion, breaking off a large portion of the rest of the face. Only the top part and what remains of the neck is currently connected. As it smashes off, the creature seems to be slightly dazed, knocked back. Using this opportunity, Yuki goes in for a series of attacks, smashing against the head and the torso, dealing some serious damage, but not ultimately destroying the gorilla. You are both in very bad situations. What do you do?
Push the advantage.
Okay.
Stay.
Push the advantage. In doing so, you move forward. The gorilla, Mayhem, the gorilla, snaps out of it, reaches up and grabs the fighting arm, and as its other hand reaches up, it comes up and grabs the horns of Yuki. As it does, it snaps.
Knee him.
It snaps off one of the horns and begins to push back against Yuki, now seemingly found its second wind. With this in place, the gorilla goes in for the advantage. So does Yuki. Their fists meet. Yuki's fist is weak after taking some serious blows, but ultimately has been built stronger than the gorilla's, and deals more significant damage to it than it takes itself. With this push of advantage, the Mayhem with the gorilla reaches around and strikes against the elbow, which it had previously weakened, of the punching arm, snapping off the punching arm. You are left with your horns, left with one horn and a mustache. What do you do?
Oh, fuck.
Aim for the legs.
It is extremely weak currently.
Aim for the legs.
With what?
With what?
With our legs.
And then for kicks? Do you want to do
Okay,
that?
at some point
Yeah,
I
our
did
legs are
want to do
the feet are fortified with ice, so.
True, our legs are stronger.
Your legs were made with packed ice. Your torso and your head was made with ice.
I said the feet as well, where the boots are.
Okay, because I don't remember that.
That's why I said the abs, the feet, and the punching arm.
Okay, because I remember the punching arm, the abs, and the head were made of ice, not the feet from that. Okay.
Did have the idea to like do a leg grapple and like spin around and snap its neck, but is it the Karate Kid and just one-legged kick to the head and knock it out instantly?
Oh, his head's a bit of a mess anyway, so there's a chance.
Possibly.
What do you want to do?
Should we do that?
Should we
Just
do?
try and aim for
Should
the
we
head?
kung fu
legs?
kick the legs or the head?
Oh. See, the legs
Go
haven't
for
taken
the
much
headbutt,
damage.
but feint a headbutt and then actually do a kick.
Okay. Yeah, sorry. Go for that then. I like that.
He thinks it's going to be a headbutt, but then the headbutt misses and it's actually a flash kick.
For the face.
Okay, this being your command, Yuki, with it being in dire straits, moves forward to press the advantage. With its horns forward, the gorilla raises its remaining arm and the side where its horn is to block the gore attack. As it does so, the swing from the legs reaches up, striking against the what remains of the lower head of the gorilla. Mayhem's head is lost. Now, without any form of perceiving vision, it can't actually tell what's going on. With this now in place, Yuki pulls back and goes in for another series of kicks. However, now Mayhem has raised its hand to block any preceding damage. No damage is done on either side. The arm is weakened, but ultimately not destroyed. With this in place, and now a stalemate in place, as Yuki is going in for a series of kicks, remaining on its balance, but finding it difficult, whereas Mayhem has taken a defensive stance until it receives its next command. What do you do?
I say we take out the legs now.
The low sweep for the legs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Low sweep for the legs. In doing so, you go in for that low sweep and you swing down, just as the order of charge is given. Your low sweep of the legs hits one of the legs, and Mayhem goes for the charge, but falls forward. Mayhem is now on top of you, and you are underneath it. However, you,
No.
in this difficult position, can't really get up. But it can't either. As it falls down, it falls on top of you, and it doesn't seem to have the strength to be able to get up. In this peculiar situation, you find yourself in a difficult stalemate where neither side moves, being unable to make any leg attacks as it is pinned to the ground, and Mayhem being unable to move because it is currently locked onto the ground. Its legs, one of its legs broken and completely imbalanced. It can't actually get up. With this in place, and the difficulty of all of it, what do you order Yuki to do?
Should we tell him to headbutt with the mustache or roll up, or try and roll away?
Yuki, activate the buzzsaw mustache.
Alright.
Art.
Okay.
No.
This would
Activate.
have been a good time to. Yeah, this would have been a good time to launch the owl. Just saying, this would be
We
the
don't
time.
have any arm.
Okay.
Yeah.
The super dead owl.
Activating the mustache with Mayhem still incapacitated on top and Yuki underneath. Yuki begins to use its mustache to excavate its way through Mayhem, slowly but surely peeling away using either side of the mustache, swaying its head back and forth. The ref and the dragon come over to see what's happening, and they can see movement underneath. As they come over, one of them raises their hand to call for a draw. As Yuki's head bursts forth like a terrible horror movie from the back of Mayhem. Mayhem is out, and Yuki has a head and 2 legs left.
What a fucking disaster!
That was beautiful.
Get away from
The
Lost then.
humanoid form is not a perfect machine.
Yeah, just
10
saying.
anime battles.
Just saying. There are a few mistakes in there, but Infernal.
Yeah.
If the call had been made to go for the legs instead of the head on that kick, and you hadn't done the feint, it probably would have gored you. You would have lost your legs and torso, and you would have just gone down. You would have lost. Yeah, they need their head. Something to note. And as you take a note of this, Yuki is given the reward for this, being sent into the next round. However, broken and very much needing a repair, you are given half an hour to rebuild. Now, you have a choice here.
Okay.
You can either rebuild it back to what you want to give it. In such a case, you will not be able to adapt to your next opponent. On the other hand, you can have one person watch and learn who your next opponent is, and then do a decent job at rebuilding. What do you want to do?
I think a decent
Angelice, you
job
have the
would
same
be good
thing, but
because
you don't need to worry about rebuilding.
We should do a decent job and watch what the next person has, because there are some things that could be changed. I think we should refit Yuki to be more evasive, perhaps.
Yeah.
Way
Yeah, a little
their
bit.
humanoid body allows them to.
Okay.
I know I'm not supposed to help you because I'm not on your team, but can I make one suggestion?
Okay. Well, you have the suggestion. I'm going to quickly be right back. It won't be long.
Okay.
The enemy, Harlan.
No, listen to me. It's worth it.
Making your enemy stronger, Pangalice's victory shall glow even brighter.
Okay, we are not being the Bakugo of this tournament. We're not going to resist everyone's ultimate power so that we have assured victory.
Okay.
I'm happy with a win on technicality.
Look.
In fact, that's the best win.
I was thinking more
Look,
of a
just
Nagito
let-
Kameda, but
Sam,
okay.
Okay, I'll let Harlan talk now.
The ice mustache
Yes.
essentially set it up to be detachable and sharp,
Oh.
and basically have a sneeze attack where your mustache shoots out like a batarang.
Good. It did
maybe-
save us at the end there. Why did I type my... I just typed Ice Mustache now instead of Mustache Gundam.
I'm back. Alright. Sorry about that.
Welcome back.
So, with that over, what were you going to rebuild Yuki? So were you going to have one person watch? Yes? No?
Shall watch. I will view the enemy.
Okay, you'll view the enemy.
I
In which
mean-
case, I will do the fights before I have you repair.
I'm assuming same goes for Pangolice.
Yeah, Pangolice has
Oh,
taken
okay.
minimal damage, so Pangolice doesn't need to worry about a good repair job, effectively.
Defense to the win, motherfuckers!
Alright,
Yeah, but we will be making some minor improvements.
yeah, that's fair. Okay, into the next round. So, I will type that in. Yuki Golem X. Alright. With that, Going into the next round is Scorpice versus Ninjais.
Oh, I've been waiting for this one.
Okay.
My money's on Scorpice, actually.
Okay, we'll see. As the call is made for these two to enter the arena, you see on one side what looks to be a team of what looks to be two humanoid individuals and the Tinkali, which you've faced a couple of times. Standing there, you see them kind of prepared with this event that's taking place. You see in front of it a large scorpion-shaped snow creature with two large stingers rising from the back, which are completely crystallized over, along with four large claws that reach forward and snap, seemingly doubling the general proportions of a scorpion. The four large claws seem to have icicles on the back of the claw itself, allowing it to take both a defensive and an offensive posture. It looks well built, and the chitinous plates around the outside seem to give it a good defensive look as well. Ninjais, on the other hand, is a particularly interesting individual. You see on the other side what looks to be a few individuals who you don't recognize. However, they seem to have made what looks to be a humanoid shape, that of a typical ninja, wrapped in what looks to be a kind of a billowing snow outfit with a single kind of short scarf wrapped behind it that kind of flows in the wind, similar to your cape. You can see that on its back it has two short swords that can be drawn from either side, and a single large sword from the behind its head of its neck. You can see it is armed with what looks to be several throwables made of ice across its body, ranging from throwable darts and throwing stars to more cumbersome things such as just balls of ice for one reason or another. As the
Okay, no, I'm changing my bet.
Who to Ninjais?
Ninjais.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I don't care if it actually wins or not. It's perfect already.
Okay, going into the
Weeb.
It's the people's champion.
And Yuki Golem EX isn't?
perfect. Exactly.
Hey, it's not EX, it's X, and also, no, you really aren't. You're a weird naked man.
Going into the first round, the call is made. Ninjais dashes around to one side, using its cover as best it can, but Scorpice runs straight ahead. You initially wonder about this choice before you watch as Scorpice crawls up the central pillar, and with its legs proceeds to wrap itself round the pillar, using its four claws as a defensive mark to show that it is in a very unreachable location. Ninjais takes a throw at it, throwing one of the kunai, but it bounces and glances straight off one of the icicles of the claw itself, which has been well built and durable. As it does so, Scorpice moves forward to the next location, the next gap in the wall. As Ninjais comes around the corner, it sees it is now face to face. Scorpice rams through, crushing the rock before it, which scatters behind the various areas. Ninjais does well to jump out of the way before two of the large claws come ramming in and grapple onto the outside of Ninjais. With Ninjais in a very bad situation, the two stingers come forward, piercing straight into the torso. You watch as the front frost portion of it begins to slowly melt away as portions of it drop off. Scorpice's then two other claws reach in around the legs of Ninjais, preventing it from escaping. Ninjais, however, has something up its sleeve. You watch as it pulls what looks to be one of the orbs and throws it onto the ground. As it does so, you watch as there is a shattering and snow ruptures everywhere, making it impossible to see what's going on. You hear what sounds to be clashing of ice on ice, and the two of them proceed to fight it out, before you watch as Ninjais leaves, scattering off of one side with a single arm missing and some serious damage taken to its torso. Scorpice stands there. A few shattered icicles on the back of its claws, but otherwise no serious damage. Ninjais escapes. Using its speed to its advantage, it runs further. Scorpice attempts to keep up, but being kited. Kunai are thrown behind it. Being shot, they glance off of the outside of Scorpice, but doing some occasional nick damage, as Scorpice proceeds to follow, its commanders seemingly waiting for something, but not allowing it to do anything else but follow on. Ninjas takes this opportunity, kiting it and continuing to throw throwable after throwable, doing damage, glancing hits, but slowly whittling down its outer defenses. Moving further round, Ninjas goes to reach for another throwable, but it's out. It realizes it's out of these consumables, stops, looks down, looks back up as Scorpice rams into it with what remains of its spikes. The 4 claws kind of hooked together, holding it in place, allowing it to ram forward. As it does so, Ninjas is pierced and impaled on the front spikes, managing to pull itself off. The 2 stingers miss, glancing on either side, not doing any serious damage, but as a claw swings round, it batters into the front of Ninjas. Ninja seems to mitigate the majority of the damage, but is ultimately in bad shape. With this, Ninja draws its large katana sword and goes in for a heavy swing. A claw goes up to meet it, but the sharp and serrated edge of the katana slices straight through one of the claws, cutting it into 2 pieces, falling on either side. The katana, a very dangerous weapon in this situation. As it goes in for another swing against the other claw, it raises its the icicle portion of it, using 2 of the claws to block the attack. No serious damage is done, but there is a lock between the 2 of them, and that lock proves to be fatal. As the remaining claw on that side reaches up, grabs the arm, twists and breaks off the wrist as the katana falls to the ground. Ninja seemingly has no way to fight back. Performing a few kicks, it ends up impaling its own feet on the edge of this, as the 2 stingers come in again, going in for the final blow, breaking Ninjas into a pulp of snow on the ground. Ninjas is out, and Scorpice proceeds.
Still the people's champion. It just looked so cool. So much better than that dumb Yuki Golem.
God.
Wow, taking the savage shots here.
Ninjas are cooler than Minotaurs anyway.
It's from the other side of the stage. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Alright.
Fuck you too.
Now that you've seen your opponent, what changes, if any, are you making to Pangolice?
First things first, obviously we're going to be... assuming we've returned it back to its previous state, essentially.
Repairing it, yep.
First things first, we want to, if I remember my talks with everyone previously, and by everyone I mean Simon for the most part.
I'm useless.
Essentially, do anything we can to increase the density of the scales, especially around the tail. Basically, to put a bit of weight behind it, put a bit more weight on the tail, and maybe some sharper edges if we can. Essentially, increasing our weapon capabilities. Increasing any of the scales on the back as best we can to improve our defense, and making claws on the arms. So as to have another emergency weapon if need be.
Okay. Okay. So you prepare that, and you
the claws, of course, being as hard and dense and sharp as ice as we can manage.
Simon, you're in tabletop, I assume.
He's muted.
Muted and
everyone.
Is anybody on your team in tabletop? Sam.
Nope.
Alright, I'm rolling for you, Harlan. You're to blame if this goes wrong.
Okay, that's fair.
2 and a 10. Okay. You make the scales hardened, and the weight is sufficient to make it a little bit more of a bludgeoning weapon, and the claws are passable. But it's a new addition, so it makes it slightly more difficult.
Yeah.
So, moving on to the
Any
next...
improvement is an improvement.
That's true. Excuse me, I got a bit of a cough today. Moving on to the next round. Collapse versus the Frost Blob. Coming out of this other side.
Collapse are the most robot wars ass names ever.
Going into this next bout, the first one you see leave is the Frost Blob. It's not very eventful, as you watch as a large blob of snow rolls and just begins to slide, almost like a slime, out from its small enclosure with what looks to be, from the other side, from a glance, Abod. And what you
Sorry,
can tell
what?
to be
You
a
broke up.
disguise. I broke up? Did I?
No.
Yes, repeat that, please.
Yeah. On the other
We thought you
side,
said Abod. and
Yes.
I don't believe that for a second.
you see Abod on the other side, and from what you can tell, a disguised Gree.
And this
I thought
is
it was going to
which
be like a bunch of
creature again?
5-year-olds.
Those motherfuckers didn't ask me to be on their team. Okay.
The Frost Blob.
Oh motherfucker,
As
we're
you-
gonna lose.
As
so
you
bad.
see the two eyes like sliding off of the snow itself, they're probably the only hardened bit of it, sliding to either side before like positioning themselves again. As this thing seems to have quite a lot of control over its
It's a fucking
body.
Banjo-Kazooie enemy.
On the other hand, you hear
Yes.
what sounds to be the grinding of ice and snow against grinding of ice and snow, as you feel a rumble, as you watch as this large, worm-like entity as Collapse rides out from its one, coiling itself almost like a snake, with several rotating and sharpened ice cylinders for its torso. Its head, no eyes, a single agape maw with hundreds to thousands of tiny ice triangle teeth on the inside of it, rotating and spinning. Collapse remains in place. A huge creature. Not large like most of the others, but huge. As this one remains there and in place, the command is given for the two of them. Initially,
Versus
watching this, you
Tremors.
watch as Collapse moves forward. You watch as it spins and burrows itself into the ground. As you watch as it digs underneath the snow and the earth itself. There's a shake and a tremor as the crowd watch in awe. As it ruptures forward, the frost blob splits itself into a ring around Collapse as Collapse emerges from the ground itself, catching none of it. Before the frost blob pulls itself back together and rides Collapse partway up. You watch as Collapse begins to spin its segments, the frost blob spinning with it, before you watch as portions and elements of it begin to corrode away and break, almost. Shattering into smaller pieces on the floor as Collapse begins to try and shake off the frost blob. As it does so, you watch as the frost blob loses grip, sliding to one side, taking no damage from any of the landing or any of what has just occurred. Before you watch as Collapse swings forward with its large worm-like tail. As it swings round, the frost blob flattens itself, almost like a sheet of paper, and completely avoids the attack altogether that swings overhead. With this in place, the frost blob moves forward, jumping at Collapse to try and do something to one of the joints. As Collapse spins, it swings itself round into a rolling motion, pinning the frost blob against the ground. You can't see any visible damage, but you notice the frost blob has gotten smaller. As it begins to spin around, Collapse flails through the air, throwing up snow and landing an attack every now and then. Before you watch as, in this horrific scene, you watch as the frost blob jumps and Collapse swallows frost blob. A moment passes. You don't know what's occurred. Nothing seems to be going on, and Gree seems to be smiling, from what you can tell.
Oh my god, are you actually back, Simon?
Yes, yeah.
Welcome back.
Sorry for the wait.
Sorry.
Abod and Gree. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, they've made another broken.
yeah. As you see this occur, a few moments pass, the crowd is silent, Collapse is flailing around, its spinning worm-like form, unable to contend with what's going on, as you see, on portions of it, its outside, kind of icy exterior is now see-through, as you see a moving frost blob moving inside of it, excavating the snow
Oh my god.
from the inside of this thing, breaking Collapse down from the inside. As you watch as Collapse flails, it swings, and somehow a portion of it snaps off. Excuse me. As the frost blob is thrown out, it lands and hits the ground as Collapse reaches forward, goes in for another strike, pummeling the frost blob into the ground. Bits of it scatter everywhere. But as Collapse begins to flail, its nature is damaged. It can't move as agilely, and it doesn't seem to be able to comprehend what to do. As it takes a strike from the Frostblob as it wraps around it, it continues to spin, swirling its segments around to try and keep the Frostblob off as best it can. It uses this spinning momentum to take strikes against the Frostblob, doing damage little by little, breaking it down, but collapses in a difficult situation. The two remain locked in combat for a short segment of time, Collapse landing some good moves and actually knocking the Frostblob back a bit. As the Frostblob is taking damage, its form is getting smaller and smaller, but it is also getting faster and faster. As this continues to occur, you watch as one of the eyes is knocked away. It shatters across the back wall as another eye emerges from the snow. It seems to have more than one set, allowing it to remain perceptive enough. A spare, if you will. As this occurs, this is almost caught off guard. As the Frostblob moves back in, it goes in through its original hole, back onto the inside of Collapse, begins to continue excavating. Collapse won't have it though, and begins to spin, and like a washing machine, the Frostblob is spun, and bits of snow begin to be flung everywhere from the inside of Collapse. The fight goes on for a little bit longer, and Collapse seems to be gaining some ground as the Frostblob is again thrown out, and struck, now very small and in very dire straits. As Collapse goes in for a single more attack, you watch as the Frostblob goes in to jump, almost attempting to dive through the small center. But as it does so, Collapse recorrects itself, and the Frostblob is eviscerated in the outside of the teeth.
Oh.
As this occurs, the Frostblob, the remaining three eyes, shatter onto the ground before it as the snow is scattered, and Collapse falls onto the ground, but still moving, but very, very weak. Collapse wins.
A close one.
That was,
We lost?
yeah, that was a very close one. Yeah,
That sounded horrifying.
a series of high rolls is very effective for that. So your next opponent is Collapse, a giant ice worm.
Alright.
Who is
So-
very damaged.
Yes, but again, so are you, so it's going to be repaired.
Ah. Who looks
Alright,
more
so,
damaged, us or him?
You.
Well,
All they have to do is refill it
Okay.
with packed snow. You have to build something. So what are you going to do to make...
So here's the thing, guys. Though I thought for a second we would have been completely invincible. It would have been completely invincible, but it lost. So now we've got to contend with the thing that beat the thing I thought was invincible.
right.
Okay, I'll be
Yeah.
right back.
And then
That's not good.
Ghaakt says that, and then he's like, I need to go to the loo, and he just walks off.
Just find him later in the toilets, just huddled into a ball. How are we supposed to compete against that?
He's a very muscly man.
We thought this was all going to be fun and games.
Alright.
It is fun and games.
Instead of the grappling arm, Chris,
Okay.
can I make an arm with a hammer on the end?
Make me a d20 roll.
Can I give myself advantage anyway?
Nope, because the match was watched to adapt to this strategy, so this is a rush job. So I'm
I meant
assuming
with
you're using...
enhance ability.
I know you're using enhance ability and or advantage from allies, and I'm cancelling out the disadvantage. That's why I asked you to roll.
Alright, so
That is a 3.
Oh, fuck me.
As you set the hammer arm up, it's crude, and it may work, but you'll have to see how effective it may be in the combat. Other than that, the
Right.
other arm, is it going to be grappling arm or punching arm?
not sure if there'll be much to grapple on this time.
No.
Nah.
Are we gonna set up the mustache to be our secret weapon?
Yeah. I mean, mustache all the way.
Right, I
Can't we
want to
have-
convert the mustache into a drill that will like spin out. You know, like one of those drill heads.
Oh, turn it into Pinocchio. Turn the nose into a drill.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I guess so, but you know how like they have those drills. Also, we should fix that horn.
Okay, making it loose, repairing the horn, and making the mustache into a drill bit, it seems to be your most effective weapon at the moment. As the hammer arm that you have is passable, it could work, you'll have to see. The other arm is what?
Can it wield stuff?
Yeah.
Could we have it so we've got a normal arm that's heavily deformed,
that
an
can,
normal arm,
that can
and make
wield
an
the
ice
hammer
shield?
arm in case it falls off.
Well, yeah, maybe that. But give it an ice shield. Not the armor an ice shield, but it's holding an ice shield that it can drop if it needs to.
In such a case, I'll give you a
That
roll.
will probably be helpful.
Yeah.
It can mostly work on charging.
Wow.
Okay,
Just wow.
you go to make
Well,
the shield.
guys, good knowing you.
The shield...
Why'd you touch my die?
You
Oh,
don't
right,
die if you lose.
You know what?
just
I will allow
lose.
you the reroll simply because you're supposed to be the one rolling it.
Thank you.
I apologise.
Rude.
One.
Well,
Oh my
a bit better than one.
It's possible.
Oh my god, jeez.
Yeah, you'll have to see how effective that will be in combat against collapse.
So, usually when you have shields, the weapon you use is like a spear or a sword, not a hammer, but...
Fine.
That's fine. You'll,
We have a drill. It's fine.
yeah, you'll see how it goes.
Bern, why? Okay, I actually know. I know why I picked the hammer now. It just hit me.
Should we hammer up the legs?
I'm gonna play whack-a-mole with the big worm.
Well, yeah.
It's not that big, a hammer.
I never said how big it was.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind.
No.
One of those big inflatable party hammers.
Exactly. Made out of ice that's hollow on the inside.
Just shatters.
Treat it like a warhammer.
Yeah, but it's also filled with little ice bits.
Yeah.
Now, I'm just gonna
Like
get. I
ice.
just want to get this correct. Is this like Ninja Ice's sword, where you can draw the hammer, or is this a hammer, literally an arm?
Yes, hammer arm.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is the
All right.
answer.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, Infernal.
It's a hammer that
Hey,
can
when-
draw a hammer.
We're gonna.
Oh my god, it's a hammer arm and there's smaller hammers attached. They just...
Instead of fingers, they're smaller hammers.
Oh my god.
I have become hammer god. Hammerer of hammers.
Congratulations, Infernal. You've turned our Renaissance art piece into a cubist art piece.
So,
Excellent. You're just going through the eras of art.
the next round is brought
Statement
through.
about
Oh
history
no,
and shit.
postmodernism's gonna suck.
Okay.
We could do great.
Good luck against the scorpion. Right?
Yeah, during the next round, you watch as the next set of individuals go up against each other. Triceptor versus Ice Crusher. As you watch as on one side you don't recognize these individuals, as you watch as a humanoid structure walks out with what looks to be a large cloak over it, hiding anything underneath. As the form stands there, it doesn't seem to look particularly interesting from the outside. On the other hand, and on the other side of this all, you see what looks to be a relatively interesting design of a bull. But where it would have its horns, it is replaced with a massive sheet of ice that encompasses and is part of its face. The shield of ice is covered with a series of spikes, and it is in an oval or elliptical shape, with the face as a portion of it, and the rest of it just as a sheen ice. The rest of its body seems to be a very sturdy and well packed. It looks fast. It looks tough. However, it is very frontal, same as Mayhem. As this fight begins, you watch as Ice Crusher moves forward, going for the attack and charging towards Triceptor. As it does so, the cloak flies into the air slightly and falls onto the face of Ice Crusher. It can no longer see. As this happens, the form of Triceptor is revealed to you, as you see three separate centipede-like bodies proceed to scuttle along the ground, climbing up the legs of Ice Crusher and behind its plate onto its body. As this occurs, they proceed to bite and tear at small portions of the back of Ice Crusher. As it begins to shake, it pulls and successfully manages to snag the cloak off of its face, but is now covered in these 3 centipedes, as you can have multiple bodies. As they continue their onslaught, Ice Crusher begins to charge and begins to swing its body to get some of these, to get some of the Triceptor off of it. As it rams into one side, one of the centipedes is caught, pinned against the wall, slides off, but is still able to move. The others proceed to continue to tear into it, doing small, negligible damage, but still damage nonetheless. This process continues. For the next couple of seconds, Ice Crusher proceeds to ram against various walls, not able to land a clean hit, getting one of the other scorpions off, before turning around and centipedes, as it turns around to face one of the ones which it had previously knocked off. It charges. As it does so, the centipede flattens itself onto the ground, and that covers it in snow. Ice Crusher loses where it is, and it swings down its elliptical front plate to try and scoop it up or to strike it, but misses.
Question: How do I actually send a gift?
You have to do
Relevant,
copy
Tom.
link. You have to do copy
Yes.
link instead of copy image.
Ask Infernal, he's the meme master. As the centipedes on the back proceed to...
Do I get the URL or do I get the embed?
Look,
Why don't
just
you type
ask
it to him?
Infernal. Why don't you just ask
Copy
Infernal?
link
with typing?
instead of you have to do copy link.
There you go. As this proceeds, these centipedes proceed to continue
This
to
is what
tear
I
the
thought of when I
outside
heard
of
Triceratops.
Ice Crusher. As Ice Crusher proceeds to
Sure.
try and get more of them off, it is having a hard time, and it is losing this battle, becoming weaker and weaker by the moment. However, there is a single thing which Ice Crusher does, which the Triceptor has a difficulty with. As the centipedes begin to bite against it, Ice Crusher rolls, catching all of the centipedes in a single roll, crushing them on its back, landing and flipping itself back onto its hooves, turning around. Now all 3 of them are off, and they're in a
Hey,
perfect
that's
line.
our move.
In a perfect line, it charges forward, scoop down, ready to strike them, and the 3 of them scatter. Fast enough, clever enough to outwit this. One of the centipedes is sacrificed as it hits the top. It is crushed as portion of the ice is broken off of it. It is no longer moving, but the other 2 climb up onto the back again and begin to gnaw away. You watch as a portion of the front plate of its head begins to shift, almost like they're severing it off of its main body. As this continues, Ice Crusher begins to try and spin, getting them off again, rolling. This time they are now aware of this and move with it like a rolling barrel. Proceeding to gnaw away, they slowly but surely break away at this, before Ice Crusher goes for a backward strike, striking its own body, but ultimately getting one of the centipedes off as it is moved off to the side. With there only being 2 centipedes, one is left. As it continues to bite, it very closely manages to potentially sever the connection. As it continues, it does so. It bites onto the front, and the main front plate slides off of the front. The face is taken with it. It is now blind. It has no weapon, and it can move, but that's it. With this, the judge calls if the other team wants to give in, and they say that they're willing to give Ice Crusher a chance, as they say, we're going to go out fighting. And they proceed to do so. Landing a few hits, but not managing to take out Triceptor. Triceptor tears it down one bit at a time, breaking it down and taking it into smaller chunks bit by bit. As you watch as one of the centipedes does something particularly interesting. It proceeds to gather the small portions and the large plate from its foe and drags it over to its entrance. As this continues, and eventually taking down Ice Crusher, Triceptor is the victor, and to seem to have gathered portions of its fallen foe. Okay.
I thought this thing was going to be his Triceratops, but you sure showed me.
Yep, that's what Sudz thought as well. Alright.
If I could, can I have like the ability to update this thing? It's bugging me now.
Why?
The fact that oh, okay, you've already done it.
Yeah, I'm entering it in, don't worry.
It took like a couple seconds for it to gain, and I was like,
That would be your
wanna
end
fix it.
rather than mine then.
Yeah, of course, Chris, it's always my end.
KK.
Alright, next round. Frostbloom versus Tarantula. Alright, you can probably guess what both of these look like.
Okay, no, I've got two ideas for Tarantula. I'm hoping that one of them's wrong because I don't like fucking spiders.
Well,
Yeah, I know,
It's a
right?
giant snow spider, isn't
it
it?
is. As you watch out of one side what looks to be a large snow spider begins to slowly move out of this, the large 8 legs covered in these very thin but sharp ice needles poking out as the hairs across this thing. As it slowly moves out, it shimmers and shakes. You watch as the outside of it has what looks to be a few spikes on the central piece of it, not the abdomen, but the main piece of it, and its mandibles at the front snap as it moves forward, preparing to move and fight whatever its foe is. Out the other side, you hear a slow lumbering and a grumble of earth once again, as you watch a very slow-moving plant-like structure crawl out of the hole. You see these large roots, almost like tendrils of a kraken, reaching out through the snow, pulling it forward. Very well built and covered with a series of spikes around the outside, giving it traction and potentially a lot of damage. The reach on these roots, they probably exceed the better half of the arena. And as you see this large flower in place, you see as the buds open up to reveal a inside ray of reflective ice on the inside as it holds itself present and slightly lower to the ground. As the fight begins, Tarantula moves forward with insane speed, rushing towards its foe. It proceeds to jump off of the various stony areas and avoids the roots altogether. As it gets close, it lands a singular bite on the outside of Frostbloom. Grappling onto the edge of Frostbloom, Frostbloom proceeds to attempt to act. As it begins to try and shake and knock Tarantula off, it's too fast. It moves round, and you watch from its abdomen a very long and very powerful thrust of a singular spike travelling from the outside of its abdomen through Frostbloom, as it seems to break through a main portion of the stem of Frostbloom. As this occurs, you watch as the side of it begins to crumble away, and as Tarantula moves away, it avoids all hits. Climbing along the edge of the arena, avoiding the roots altogether, it moves into a more advantageous position, finding itself in a place where it can be better and more in a safer position from where it currently is. Frostbloom, immediately reacting to this, almost looks down as one of the roots comes up and proceeds to take the place of the stem, as a broken root now falls into place. The head and stem seemingly replaceable and detachable. With this occurring, Tarantula moves forward again, going for another blow, jumping forward, attempting to get strikes, this time being hit a few times by the roots, but ultimately not taking a lot of damage. It moves forward and goes in for another strike. As it goes in for a blow, the flower is ready. And with all the petals open up, it moves in and wraps around Tarantula, holding it in place. There is bites and what sounds to be snow on ice breaking as Tarantula breaks free, falling back away from this all, as you see portions of Tarantula's body have fallen away where these petals seem to have dug into it and dug through its main body. However, Tarantula's done a lot of damage to the inside as well, as you watch as one of the large petals falls into the snow. The large petal shatters across the ground, and the crowd roars at this with this current show and display. The two of them proceed to go at it again, Tarantula going in for a few more strikes, Frostbloom being put on the defense once again, using its roots as best it can, but Tarantula not letting up and not making a single mistake. As it goes forward again, another spike ruptures straight through, managing to pin one of the roots to the actual stem itself, carving through the two and boring this massive hole. One of the roots falls down limp, losing control of that, and the main stem being damaged once again, it has to replace. It is losing its weapon. However, Tarantula makes a mistake and overstays its welcome. As one of the roots reaches up, it grabs onto the outside Tarantula and hurls it across the arena into one of the walls. Tarantula doesn't make its landing. It hits the wall, lands on the ground, and looks up as another root swings down and cracks through the top portion of it. You watch as a few of the legs are sprayed out on either side. The main portion of the head is scattered as a portion of the snow dissipates. It gets back up sluggishly and proceeds to move forward. Now, with this new zeal and drive, it climbs and clambers over all the roots again, dodging them as Frostbloom seem to have landed a few lucky hits, but ultimately not doing too well. More strikes are made, more roots are lost, Tarantula taking little to no damage from the next few attacks. And with the final few blows, it strikes against the outside and the main stem, breaking Frostbloom. As the last root falls into place, all is left is the head. The head of the ice, with all the detached roots no longer in place. It's able to shimmy and shift, but it can't run. And with that, Tarantula moves in, and with a single one of its ice spikes goes straight through the head, breaking and shattering a few of the petals as it falls into two pieces and falling backwards. Frostbloom is out. Pretty flawless victory. As you watch as Tarantula moves on to the next round.
I'll be honest, I'm glad you guys are going to face
He's not
Tarantula
on your
first.
side!
Very
Fun
true.
with Triceptor.
Yeah, that's true. However,
Okay, yeah, but
On the-
Triceptor's like a load of centipedes. We can deal with centipedes.
on the other side, however, watching as the next bit proceeds to fall into play, you watch as the two competitors, Wolverine and Snowcrocodile, move into place. Wolverine is a large ice and snow direwolf-like form. Two large heads, thick fur, and what looks to be the underside of its neck is covered in these very small ice crystals. As it holds itself in place, it stands there growling and very well prepared for this new fight. As coming out of the other one, you hear the crowd shouting, "Snowcrocodile! Snowcrocodile! Snowcrocodile!" as you are made aware that this is the reigning champion. As it lumbers out, crunching forward, you see the huge form of a large, standing on its back legs, crocodile snout head, humanoid form covered in heavy, jagged ice crystals. The only real exposed portion is its underbelly, and even that is well packed and still hardened, as the form is thick, muscular, and effective in every way. You see along the base of its tail is a few of those spiked barbs of ice that seem to hold it in place, allowing it to land a good swing, but it has 4 large claws on each hand in preparation for grappling. As this begins, you watch as Wolverine takes a little bit more of a defensive approach, moving up but then becoming defensive, as Snowcrocodile walks up confidently. As Wolverine goes in for a bite around the neck with one of the two heads, Snowcrocodile reaches up a fist and goes in for a punch as it strikes one of the heads. You watch as Wolverine, using its speed, it's not enough. As it's knocked back, one of the heads is badly damaged. Even from a single hit, Snowcrocodile stands there victorious from that single blow, and raises its hands in a manner of victory. Rook and Bern, you recognize the owner of Snowcrocodile.
Alright.
As you see that Dragonborn form standing there, arms
Oh,
crossed,
motherfucker.
beaming smile across his face as he's watching this all take place. On one side, you see a slightly younger Dragonborn with what looks to be a series of books cladding their form. And on the other, you see an individual...
Oh my god, it's a father.
Another, what looks to be a Slitharian or lizard folk, leaning up against the wall in kind of a younger crocodile style, is flipping a coin in the air and just watching the fight from a glance.
That cool guy.
Yep, K-Rule. As Snowcrocodile moves forward, pressing the advance, Snowcrocodile moves up, and goes in for a single strike against the wolf heads. They both trade blows as the claw bites the outside of the armor, but not doing much damage. As the punch goes in, it rakes across the teeth and shatters them as it pulls it away, as the outside of the plating on Snowcadil's arm is now a little bit more damaged. Snowcadile, realizing what's going on, moves forward a bit for the advance, but isn't prepared for this as you watch as a white glow occurs from the bottom of Wolverine's jaw. As both heads open up, a gout of ice and snow bursts forward. The Snowcadile's form is frozen and made more rigid, as Snowcadile holds in place, is unable to really move for this next round. Wolverine goes to capitalize on it, however.
What kind of these?
You can cast a single spell on your creature to make it more powerful.
Wait, what?
Yeah, so long as you
Yeah.
can maintain concentration, you can cast a single spell on it. I'm surprised you didn't try it.
Shit.
I thought spells
okay.
weren't allowed.
Spells aren't allowed if you're actively casting them. Concentration support spells is allowed, you never asked. The other team did, and they've put theirs into a much more rigid state and durable offense.
Okay.
Looking at this, you can see that this, Sasha, you recognize this as a Dragon's Breath kind of spell.
Mm-hmm.
As Wolverine goes to breathe this, freezing over the portion of this, as it goes to take a bite, Snowcadile breaks free from the ice. A few of the ice shards glancing off of the outside of Wolverine, but as it goes to make its strike, doesn't do as much damage as it probably would have hoped. As the two of them continue to trade blows, Snowcadile taking quite a heavy hit from the next one, as it proceeds to bite and grind on the outside, tearing away at portions of its heavy plating, getting to a little bit more of the softer snow underneath. But Snowcadile doesn't let up either, landing a huge blow against the other head, weakening it and throwing it back as it stumbles, unable to get a grip of the landing of where it stands. Snowcadile takes the opportunity, with clasping both of its hands together, goes for a hammer strike straight down on one of the heads, bludgeons it and crushes one of the heads as the snow scatters across the ground. Wolverine backs up very quickly, holding itself in posture, almost experiencing fear from this. As Snowcadile moves forward, it goes in for a large sweep above Wolverine. Wolverine moves out of the way, ducking down and going in for a strike, as the tail of Snowcadile comes up to meet it as the spikes pierce through the top of Wolverine's head. As they are caught in place, Wolverine is flung through the air, soaring up into the sky. You watch as Wolverine falls to the ground, slamming against it and scattering as large portions of its body fall away, becoming a portion of the battle arena and snow of this area. Snowcadile takes the advance, rushes forward, and as Wolverine goes to dodge, taking 2 steps, its foot slips. The paw slips on some form of ice from one thing or another. Snowcadile goes in for a large bite, crushes the other head, and proceeds to go for 2 large claw punches against the chest, as, Wolverine is knocked clean out. Snowcadile raises its fist once again, as does the person you previously recognized. So,
To clarify, that's Reddock, right?
nope.
You have no clue.
Oh, it's it called Kyla.
No,
I can't think of any other Dragonborns we know.
you don't.
You don't know.
That's why I said Bern and Rook know him.
Oh, right. I thought you said us as in, like, the whole...
His name is Nagriel Huben.
Well, dick.
Yeah.
Is he
he's,
nice? Is he on our
Yes.
side?
No,
He's-
he's a neutral party. He's to himself.
He's to himself, but he'll join forces if it's for the better of it. But I don't think that'll occur.
2v2 final. I'm up for it.
Moving into the final round, you see entering from one side what looks to be another group of individuals you don't know, as what looks to be a human form takes a few steps forward. The human form has what look to be slumped arms behind it, as you watch as they unravel into 4 large whip-like tentacles held in place, pointing themselves and
Oh.
malleable, moving into a shift between snow, packed snow and ice, allowing it to be malleable and adaptive in any given situation, allowing it to take strikes and hold itself in place. As that occurs, you hear what sounds to be a roar from the other side, as you watch as from the other side a four-legged form moves forward. Hammerhead shark-like head. The main portion of it is almost like an X with a singular broken mouth on the bottom of the X, and several eyes running along the X of the head itself. Across its tail, there seem to be three tails, each of which is covered in these ice shards and crystals around the outside, as it roars and holds itself in place, as this is Razor Tail. And you see on the opposing side Angus, Verdantus, and Malcom. Unfortunately, Malcom isn't here, so I will be giving the commands for him. As Razortail holds itself in place, looking forward, shouting and roaring at Whiplash, it runs, moving quickly, charging towards Whiplash, who is caught not off guard, shall we say, but be entirely ready for the speed of Razortail. As Razortail rushes forward, goes in for a lunging bite, manages to latch onto one of the arms of Whiplash as the other three turn into the hardened ice and jam into the back of Razortail. Razortail takes a really bad negative hit, jamming into the side of it and digging into it. You watch as, from the get-go, one of the tails slides off from the strikes, as many are made. Its tail is being used as what seemed to be the main offense here. Whiplash goes in for a series of other strikes, going in and banding against the outside of this, as Razortail lets go and moves back. It's suffered some serious damage right out of the gate. It's fast and effective, but in this close range against Whiplash, it's not going to suffer well. As it tries to move around and dodge, the arms are malleable and fast and adaptive. Moving out, they take a strike, cutting off another one of Razortail's tails. Slicing it off, it's left with only one left, and its balance seems to be ever so slightly shifting. Malcom shouts out to it to try and move out of the way and to get a little bit closer somehow. Razortail does so, getting in nice and close. Before Whiplash takes a single step back, lunge into the air with its four tendrils. Now with it airborne, it swings them forward almost in a slapping whip-like motion as it strikes against the outside, doing some serious and heavy damage to the torso of Razortail. But Razortail is not put off by this. Taking the advantage, Razortail rushes forward. With its speed, beats Whiplash to the wall that it was previously going to pin itself to. And as Razortail is there, it grabs onto one of the arms and with its two claws rakes that arm off, pulling it off in place as the tail swings up and over, bludgeoning the back of the head of Whiplash, as Whiplash falls forward, now a little bit dazed, but manages to land and hold itself, stopping itself from taking damage, as Razortail jumps onto the back of Whiplash, where Whiplash seems to be a little bit more vulnerable, where its arms can't reach. It tears into the back, going for the neck, trying to sever the head itself of this humanoid form, but Whiplash isn't having any of it. Spinning around and swinging, it's hurling what looks to be chunks of snow, ice, and rock behind it to try and hit Razortail. Doesn't manage to hit the outside of Razortail that much, but does some serious damage nonetheless. As Razortail is eventually knocked off, you watch as the last tail falls away from it. As it does so, you watch as the main portion of it begins to heal and mend slightly, as there seems to be some nature of regeneration about whatever Razortail is. Razortail rushes forward. Taking a heavy blow and being knocked to one side, Razortail moves in, grabs another arm, and tears it off. 2 arms down, 2 to go. With this in place, Razortail stands back, roars, holding itself in a aggressive posture. As Whiplash slaps on either side, it goes in for a double swing against Razortail. As Razortail takes a slight jump into the air, landing on both arms, holding them in place, as its maw reaches down and snaps off another arm. With this now sense of advantage, Razortail rushes forward. Whiplash, taking a step back with only a single arm, uses its foot to try and kick away as it uses the other arm to swing round, hardening it to do a lot of damage. Razortail's speeds outmatch it though. As it ducks down underneath, it goes for a single upward bite, tearing off the remaining arm. It now has no arms, and is unarmed, you could say.
It's completely armless, sir. You don't need to worry about that one. Completely armless.
Going in for that strike. Oh wow, you pulled this back, Malcom. As he shouts out to it to push the advance, Razortail rushes up, jumping onto the torso of it and pinning it to the ground. and opens its mouth at the neck of Whiplash. The team shouts out that they're going to surrender. Razortail lets it do so, backing off. Whiplash is pulled out of the fight, no longer able to compete.
Oh, whip arms are super cool though.
Yeah, they were super cool until Malcom rolled 3 natural 20s.
Son of a bitch.
Shit.
Well, just a quick thing here. A sucker dick, Malcom! Whiplash died!
Yeah, here's his Razortail.
Yeah.
I know, but also when we were talking earlier.
Yeah, I know. He was trying to say that to throw you off his scent, just in case you thought he'd made one.
I don't care what he's making.
That's
I don't
fair.
give a shit.
Okay, going into the next round. Pangolice versus Scorpice.
Uh-oh.
And for the quarterfinals.
Yep, quarterfinals it is. As a small break is made, Rook, you're called out to proceed to fight someone in your honor bout as Rook disappears for a short while.
Bam. Run away!
And then comes back and with a smiling face as, yeah, you're happy with this and you're enjoying what's going on. The crowd seems to love it. And there's a lot of enjoyment at this event. Time is given. And Pangolice enters the field once again as you see on the other side a now fully repaired Scorpice moves forward, taking its steps across the snow itself. As you see, there has been an ever so slight adjustment to it. Looking at its tails, they now come with what look to be hooks, not just a straight stinger.
The hooks.
That's the only seeming difference you can spot. However, I would like the leader of your group. Who is that?
I mean, Simon's the only one who can actually roll, so...
Alright, Queglod, please make me an insight check.
Yeah, sure.
This is to
I mean, don't get me wrong. Sasha is definitely the one in charge. But...
Okay. From what you've seen, and from all of this, Scorpice is a brawl type. As are you.
Okay, this will be interesting then.
Most of these you can probably guess, but some of them are a little bit deceptive on which one the choice was. Okay. So, as Pangolice enters the field and prepares for this fight, cheers are made and individuals are kind of pushing you on. We're going to go take a quick break. So, we'll be back in 2 minutes, because I have to eat a sandwich. So,
Okay.
we're going to
Simon,
remain live,
Sam.
so careful of what you say. But if you want to talk, go into your other rooms now to have that talk. I'm just going to
Simon, Sam, my room, now.
Alright.
I guess we'll stay in this room and discuss our own
Sure, go for it. I don't know what
tactics.
I mean, I'm pretty sure we're gonna.
Yeah. Well, to be honest,
Yeah,
I hope that we don't have
probably.
to fight Tarantula.
But let's look at this.
Alright.
The other way.
Alright, I'm going to mute it for a bit.
We had fun. We made the sexiest possible fight.
Yeah, exactly.
As long as is the greatest strategy to ever happen to this city since a bunch of people died because the Pope went crazy. Happy. Although EX survives, I think it'd be an idea. Golem, so that they can be a wrestling tag team.
Nah, we have no time left. If we win, maybe.
Quality.
If we win, I think we need
For this
to.
one, we need to battle the big.
If we win, I'm thinking of giving it extra arm.
I just think if we
Give it
win,
extra
we can
arms,
roll higher.
then-
That'd be good. Anything
We
above
win this
1 or
one,
3.
we give it 4 arms. If we win the next one, those split off into 2. Let's see. Against a big spider or a big wolf, or a big shark or whatever the fuck.
So put it basically, should we just General Grievous this shit up? Just the arms develop into 2 more and just flails like crazy. All of his hammers.
I mean, one of the plans when we were making this was just build a fucking tornado.
Yeah.
Go to what?
Just give it 4 arms and just make it spin around in a circle.
I
as
mean,
fast as you can.
the Whiplash guy already had that, and look what happened to them.
Oh, it's just because Sudz rolled 3, 20s in a
God,
row?
yeah, we've got to kill Sudz.
God, if Sudz was here rolling, he wouldn't have got 20s. Sudz luck. He would have
Well,
probably
remember,
got
I'm the one who
two.
does all
For
the
the sun.
rolls, so it wouldn't have changed anything.
Alright, yeah. True. Tis true. Bless him. When we're building, we could do if rolling better than a 3 or a 1.
Yeah, 2 3s really didn't help.
No. What the fuck's with the panpipes?
Oh, this is just casual music which I put on. I don't know what it is. Comes from Wes North and it's called Love Theme, so.
Love theme.
Uh-huh.
This looks like Ghaakt.
I'm eating a chicken and bacon sandwich. Do I look like I care?
Well, we can't see.
But I
if
know
you
I
look
want
like...
that sandwich.
Mm.
It's my
Don't
sandwich.
tell
Chris, give me
Liam
that
that's what
sandwich.
this is called.
What?
The theme. Don't tell Liam.
What do you want me to do? Play it when he's getting it on in Thursday?
Yes. I mean, that's never gonna happen.
Yeah, I feel that us as a team, like the other teams, seem to be really pre-planning, doing everything. We just
Yeah, we
just
kind of
winging
did
it.
plan shit, so we're just going.
Yeah, just winging it. See what happens.
We didn't go for the practical, fighting. We just went for
Stupid shit.
Yeah.
we made
When-
something that represents us.
We went for stupid shit and then didn't even make it practical within those.
Yeah, if we win, then we make it practical.
Now,
Yeah.
we
Infernal, I
probably
don't want
would-
to. I don't want to say this, but you've just remade Behold. Just
got
saying.
really uncomfortable now.
Oh,
E
Perhaps Yuki Golem EX should have been a judo fighter. Honestly, that would have worked out really well for the bullfight. One we definitely need. Like, I mean, how do you hand-to-hand combat a giant worm? No, I never watched.
we have a shield and a
Doom or
hammer,
Tremors.
which are not well built.
Alright, so if it comes out from underground, we surf on the shield.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Block them out
That's-
with the shield.
Block them up with the shield, and then conk it over the back of conk it over the head.
Yeah, with the
Yeah.
hammer.
We've got to do
And
this
if
in the
that fails,
craziest
well,
way
good luck.
possible.
If that fails, then we fire the mustache drill.
Yeah, that's true. We have the must.
Shining finger.
We just drill its face. It's fine.
Oh,
And
man.
I wish I had a concentration spell that let me blow shit up. So
I
I
can
can just grab
enlarge
things
it.
from grabbing
Chris, can I do that actually? Seeing as the other.
Durational enlarge?
Uh, 1 minute?
Has to be a 1 hour concentration or more.
Wait, what?
there.
Or it has to have some way
You
of
could
having
go
a
EX
elongating
burning finger.
effect. For example, the Wolverine had Dragon's Breath. It's a 1 minute concentration, but they built it into the thing where they made it. And Pangolice has a spell cast on it, which isn't actually concentration. It just affects it because it is within Pangolice.
I really want to give
Alright.
Yuki Golem
Can I
EX.
enhance ability it then?
How long does that last?
To 1 hour.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Ooh.
What are you going to
Alright, I'll
enhance?
give it.
It's
Yeah.
must-
Should I give it
The
endurance or
moment you
strength?
ask, what of its skills do I want to enhance?
Oh,
Right.
what do you
Endurance
think
or
maybe
strength?
it's- Oh,
I think we're going to need a lot of help breaking through that big worm.
yeah.
Full strength. That's what it's called. Let's go.
Full
Okay.
strength, just all out, just brute force.
I really want to give Yuki Golem
I
EX
mean,
a
it is
shiny
a bull,
finger.
so it works. Full strength.
Oh, I was just going to say, if after you guys have finished talking you want to get the others, then we can go do that. I mean, I need to be back in a bit, but just when you're done.
I mean, we're kind of done now.
Up to you.
Yeah. Oh,
Just
man.
the burning finger. Philistine, don't know nothing about no Gundam.
Yeah. I'm just thinking, like,
Doo-doo.
put the shields to its face and then bonk it in the head. And then if it destroys us, then drill time.
Yeah. If we die, we've got to die sort of like the way of Terminator. It's like a thumb sticking up out of the snow. Like, thumb up. Just like, yeah, that's right. I went out gracefully. As our sexy Minotaur would.
We still have the cloak, ice cloak as well.
Yeah, we've still got the ice
We
cloak.
return.
We have plans.
See what I mean about them planning?
Come on,
Did you
Will.
did you need to discuss them?
No, we have plans. We already discussed them.
No, I meant did
Plan
you need
the
to discuss them
plan.
with me? I will take that as a no.
I don't think there's anything like
We couldn't
insane
hit-
that we're planning.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I'm assuming you're not going to let us fly.
Yeah, that's the entire plan.
It's
Mhm.
nice.
They relied on flying and turning
Yes,
into a ball.
a flying heavy roly boy. Yep.
Hey, that is
Like,
exactly
you've gotta-
the bouncing bomb.
Well,
I know, but you're not spinning very fast at the moment, are you? You're stationary.
Two
Also,
Arctic-
it span backwards, not forwards.
tis true.
I like that.
I know my science
Bracket.
and history. Right, I'm going to be right back. Won't be long.
I like that on both sides of the bracket we have two Arctic Arach.
Oh, spiders.
Scorpions.
Yeah.
Okay, so now that we've seen all the contenders, I'm gonna call like the for the finals. I think Snookadal's gonna get through, just because it's reigning champ. It's got that bonus. I feel like
No, I've-
X can take collapse. I think
Ah.
Taranka's gonna fuck over Razortail.
Tranquilly.
I have doubts about Yuki Golem X winning.
Okay, look, so do I, but I'm being nice.
I'm the ones that maybe just got no faith in it. Oh.
It depends. What have you decided to do to buff Yuki Golem X?
Make him sexier.
Give it.
Gave
I
him
mean,
a hammer arm,
yes.
apparently.
We gave him a hammer arm.
I'm back.
Okay.
Alright, so.
I go away to grab an apple to chew on, and then I cook a Yuki. Okay, Golem X has a hammer arm now. I was like, what?
Oh, for a second there, I thought you said, "Oh, we took the time to design an ice apple for Yuki Golem X to eat to show that he's more of an asshole."
I'm the one who's eating the apple.
I mean, I accept both answers. Alright, so. Quarterfinals. I will stick that music, actually.
Call it, Queglod. Go.
So, beginning of the first round, you see before you, Scorpice. Scorpice seems ready to fight and is, by the looks of it, intending to move forward.
Okay. Right, let's get started then. Immediate rolling attack.
Alright, do you wish to be the...
It's going
Which die do you wish to be? White die or black die?
White die.
Racist.
No.
Only someone who is racist would say that, Sam.
Mm-hmm.
Weirdly enough, I'm okay with that, and I'm not okay with how okay I am with that.
Two losers. The white dice isn't even made with real cocoa beans.
Alright, so,
I mean, that's true.
as you order Pangalos to move forward at full speed, Pangalos rolls, and fast. With this newfound strength, Pangalos uses its tail to bat itself forward, As it shoots forward in its rolling form, Scorpice raises its claws to defend, but as you impact against it, there is a clash as there is a shatter of ice, and it is not yours. As you watch as the outside spikes that act as a defensive mechanism for the claws, the majority of them, probably about 80% of them, are shattered and scattered across the area, with the hardened claws below holding in place. With this rolling momentum and spinning in place, you slowly lose that. As Scorpice pushes you back, bringing its claws to either side as you roll back slightly, you find yourself in a more defensive position. However, the tail, with its morphound form, slams against the ground once again and rolls forward. The claws this time are unable to defend, as portion of one of them is grinded away with the rolling of Pangolice, tearing into it. And as the other claws go to reach around to try and strike against Pangolice, what is your command?
Okay. Can we have a brief discussion?
I mean, that's the point of it.
Okay, yeah. I'm considering, like, we're rolling against this thing. What if we time it to the perfect position and then have we unfurl with our tail slamming down onto this thing,
get a big momentum,
and then use that to jettison ourselves back out of the range of its claws.
And
essentially using it as a springboard.
Yeah.
That sounds good to me.
Okay, so what was it again? It was unfurling, using your tail to push against it, and springboarding away.
Well,
yeah, pretty much.
Hitting down on them.
Yeah, hitting down and using it.
Okay. Honestly, the springboard is more important than the damage we deal at this moment. If we can continue going in for roll.
Who disconnected?
It might just be Discord, because Discord's being...
Is it me?
Yeah, my disc might be mine, because my internet's fucky today. Technical language, that.
Yeah, it's close enough.
Things are getting fucky in here.
Yep.
Oh, have you said fuck BT on stream yet?
Fuck BT.
Yeah, I have.
Also,
I said it, yeah.
Fuck you.
Yep. Alright. Oh. Nope, never mind, it's fine. So, as you go ahead and do so, you find yourself again in a moderately advantaged position. Tail comes down, strikes against the outside of it as you springboard away. As it does so, the claw that was reaching round snaps onto the edge of your tail that is now vulnerable in place. With you held in place, you did damage, and it hasn't done damage to you, but it has you grasped. With Pangolice now dragged down to the ground and where it is, it unfurls and back towards Scorpice. As the claws come in around it to try and crush or break off the tail, Pangolice rolls back up over the top of Scorpice. As Scorpice goes to sting with its tails, the two tails land before you roll up the back side of it. You're not caught in place, but you hit the edge of the tip of the tail, snapping off a portion of the hook, before Pangolice rolls out of the way, lands, and stumbles onto one knee as you watch as a portion of the scales on the outside begin to corrode and fall off.
Wait, what the fuck?
This happened last time.
Apparently, they filled that snow scorpion with acid.
Motherfucker. Okay. We gotta take out those tails.
I say.
Where is the damage precisely?
Probably due to the nature of where it hit you. I'm just gonna do a percentile die to see where it hit you. Okay, that's quite high, so probably in a low priority area, such as... I'd probably say nearer to the back hind legs, that portion of your shell on the back side.
Okay. Okay, it's not a, and the corrosion, is it continuing or has it like stopped?
It seems to have stopped. It initially did quite a bit of damage, but otherwise, it's probably, if anything, it's clawed back a little bit more of an even pace, but not too much.
Okay. In that case, I think we go for a charge with our claws as a feint, and then as it like goes to defend, we turn it around into a tailspin, coming round from the side at this thing.
So feint into roundhouse.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right.
I'd say, yeah.
Okay, going for that. You watch as Scorponok is there. The two claws come up to strike. Scorponok raises one of its claws to block. As it does so, the tail swings around and is caught
Did you
by
just
two of
call
the
them
claws.
Scorponox?
Scorpice, sorry. Scorponok is from
Yeah,
Transformers. I know.
Transformers.
Listen, Scorponok is cool. And
I know.
and died too soon. Spoilers. As Pangolice goes in for the two strikes, it's blocked by one claw, and the tail, as it swings around, is caught by two of the claws of Scorpice. As it begins to clamp down and crush, Pangolice's tail takes significant damage.
Jesus.
You use this. Pangolice does the same thing as last time, but this time it's going to do it slightly differently. Wrenching the tail free, swinging around with momentum, hits the ground part way, and finds itself airborne as the claws reach in front of it, missing. Pangolice curls into ball form and begins to spin. The tail cracks down on the back. There is a loud shatter as you watch as the back plate of Scorpice shatters across the area where it currently stands, which is still near its gate. And with that, the two tails swing in. They glance off of the outside of Pangolice's shell as it rolls, this time going up the other tail and snapping the tail clean off. As Pangolice falls back, landing near the center, the crowd cheers as Pangolice is in a much more advantageous position now. One tail down, taking a little bit of damage to the tail, but ultimately doing a lot of crushing to the back of this thing. What is your next command?
I think our best bet is a like we've gotten some distance. I think we like build up speed and go for a full on charge.
Okay.
But I think what we should do is like we should I think we should like start it off by like feinting past it and then bringing it around like curling around it and then coming in for an attack
It's
from a
pretty pressed up
random
against the wall. It hasn't moved up too far.
Okay,
you
then
haven't
just
got-
fucking
yeah,
like
you haven't got
charge
too
at
much
this
distance.
thing. We know its claws can't stand up to us, and we know its tails can't stand up to our momentum. So we might as well just go for a straight on.
Try and
Bank
flatten
it.
it against the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's our best bet. Like it might not work, but we can try.
As Pangolice
I've got
moves
the
forward,
bananas.
going in for that high-speed roll, Scorpice isn't fast enough to move out of the way as it's a brawl type, and as it raises its claws, it goes to block the spin. However, in the process, with no longer that protective shell around the outside of it, it loses two of those claws as they are scattered in snow across the arena in front of it. Pressing the advance, using the tail for additional momentum and pushing forward, it bludgeons into the claws as the claws push back and flip Pangolice back into its original position. Scorpice then proceeds to move. With this advantage, Pangolice proceeds to go where Scorpice would be. As it can't maneuver so easily from left to right, it goes straight forward. Pangolice stops, takes a swing, as the claw grabs onto the outside of Pangolice as you are both held in place. The two claws holding Pangolice. Pangolice no longer spinning, and the tails, or the one singular tail partially broken, is going to have a hard time hitting. What is your next command?
Okay, what portions of Pangolice are being held?
The front and the back.
Okay.
The tail is
So
still
all of
ever so slightly free, but otherwise you are held entirely, like a sandwich or a burger. Or how you're supposed to hold sandwiches or burgers, Liam. If you're watching.
Yeah. I think we take this opportunity. We've already weakened its back bit. We've got claws, we've got teeth. I think we just go straight in. I mean, I'd like to get free, but like we do have defense. What are you
Is he just holding us?
He's holding you. It's
Is
question.
that it? He's not pulling us closer or trying to push us away by holding on to us, just holding us?
He's holding you he's holding onto you and clamping you closed.
Okay.
You can't roll and you can't unravel so easily.
Oh, we can't unravel. Okay.
No. As his tail's going to be coming in for a strike against the side of you.
I think we go for we like try and push everything into an unfold to get ourselves away and out. Like if we can, even if we can't fully unfurl, getting out of this grip, it seems most important now that I understand what situation we're in. So I would say let's go for let's try and push everything we have into like breaking out of this grip, and basically unfurling ourselves as explosively as we can.
Okay. So attempting to
Yeah.
break free from this difficult scenario, you find yourself unable to break free as Pangolice begins to push and shift. There's a little bit of give, but as the tail, the snub, just manages to dig into the side of Pangolice as you watch as a portion of it is exposed. And the scorpion's mandible and bite are getting ready to bite down on it. Pangolice is held in place again. As the bite goes in, it clamps around the outside of Pangolice as the tail swings in, bats it from below, and the mandibles and the main bite of it sheens off of the top of Pangolice's scales. Pangolice is held in place, but as Pangolice now has a little bit more leeway, stunning the Scorpice for a little bit, Pangolice manages to unfurl and is now standing there with two claws clamping it almost downward now into a push to almost force it prone. The tail and the teeth are back in position. However, you are no longer held in a ball. You are now just being almost pinned. So,
Right.
What would you like to do?
The most dangerous part of Scorpice is the tail. Is there any way to get to the tail and get it gone?
It's quite high up. The only way you've managed it previously is when you've had speed and you've managed to scale its tail.
Right.
As it currently
in that
stands, you
case,
don't
we
really
need-
have a way.
Okay, we're underneath this thing, and we're basically we're on all. As I understand it, we're on all fours, but
On
we're
all
like
fours
being pushed down.
pushed against the ground, yeah. And your tail is
Okay.
free, your head is free, you can try to move, but it'll be difficult.
I think we're going to. Okay, guys. My thought is get the tail underneath us, use it to basically push ourselves up because it's our strongest point. Like use it to leverage us up and try and essentially flip Scorpice. If it lets go of us, we just get free. If it doesn't, it goes with us.
So what is it? Effectively trying to flip ourselves with that Scorpice on top of us.
Yeah, but essentially we're using our tail to push ourselves up, in an attempt to either get free from it or flip it. Because it doesn't matter what way we end up, we can just ball it and roll. We can't. But like being like held by this thing whilst it attacks us is just it's not going to be a good position for us.
No.
Now that it's stunned, this is probably our best chance. Any other thoughts? Okay.
No, I think that's
nothing.
that's a good
Nothing
plan.
that would be any better or any worse.
Okay.
I think we've got to just go for it. We can take the hit if it doesn't go quite well. So.
Okay. With that, you order the command. In doing so, you order, let's take this thing down. As Pangolice pushes off using its tail and rockets upwards, Scorpionox goes with it portionally, the claws being pulled up, and as it exceeds its reach, the claws fall free. The tail whiffs, the bite whiffs, and its head is extremely vulnerable. As in this next section, Pangolice swings down, its tail coiling round, cracks into the top of Scorpice's head. Cracking it, you can see the back portion of it where it's previously exposed splits partly. But as you land, you find yourself falling into a ball once again, and the tail is ready. With a last strike, the tail digs into the back of your tail, as you watch as a portion of the scales and the strength behind the tail begins to fall and corrode off. Not a lot of damage, but enough to potentially be a nuisance. With that, Pangolice lands, and with the same kind of roundhouse kick, going in for a feint to tempt the claws. Before the tail swings up, it carves straight through one of the claws, up through the head, and scatters it backwards. Scorpice takes a few steps back, now blind and unable to do anything. What does Pangolice do?
I think we come up behind it and we take out that tail. It can't, as I understand it, its tail can't like go backwards. It can only sort of go mostly forwards. I think we take out its tail at the base, get that danger out of the way. I'm thinking we go at it with claws and teeth.
Yeah.
We don't want to risk damaging our
It's-
tail right now. Yeah,
Mm.
it's basically useless once that's gone.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's get vicious.
Mhm.
Indeed. All right. In such a case, as you go to do this, and you say, "Let's get behind this thing. Let's use this to our advantage." You, in Pangolice's form, rolls up and proceeds to move round the back of Scorpice, but it seems to be able to ever so slightly track where you are by some sense or another. As you watch portions of what remains on its legs begin to slightly twitch, and you pick up that this thing has a very faint sense of where you're going, due to the large vibrations you're making as you move. It manages to follow you, and you're unable to get behind, but no attacks are made. As you now are in a better sense of this, you go in for a roll head-on against it. Pangolice has done this before, so why can't it do it again? Breaks through the last remaining claw, climbs up the back, scales the tail as it hooks down. The tail nicks, not doing any damage, before shattering off into small pieces across the snow itself. Before Pangolice spins in the air, tail comes out like a mace, cracking down on it, scatters the main torso of Scorpice across the arena. Scorpice is down.
Wait, we win, or like is it down as in it?
Scorpice is down, you got it.
Yes!
Nice.
Nice.
Pangolice wins!
Alright.
I'm gonna have to do a few more repairs than last time.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you're going to have to do quite a few more repairs this time. However, you don't know who the winner is. So you can either do a major repair, which will be massively to your advantage, because you'll be all up and running, or you can wait to see who wins to make us a more adaptive strategy.
I think we go for like major repair. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
can we make some like before we see the enemy's improvements though? Like, I want to like try and see if we can't fit more scales and more defense in, or like if we can't harden like underneath the scales to make a sort of
So is
more
it,
of a
wait, so you
shell.
wanted to see what the adaptive strategy of your opponent was, or?
No, we don't. I think there are some improvements that I think we can make to Pangolice after this
okay.
fight. So I think that we could make from that. I
Okay.
don't, obviously not after seeing the enemies, because we want to do a major full-on repair, make sure Pangolice is in peak condition.
Okay. In which case, Queglod.
I'm sort of taking over here. I'm sorry, guys. I'm
That's
very.
That's fine.
One idea I might have is there are 3 of us,
Mm-hmm.
or even I could send Felipe
Felipe.
to watch the fight while we're doing the
That's
repairs,
excellent.
so we still have at least a little idea of if any
Okay.
major change.
I will,
like that.
I will
I like
allow this, but I won't allow you to make the changes, but I'll allow you to know what your opponent has done.
Okay, that's fine. But we can still do repairs.
So it means you can do repairs and you can make minute changes after their fight,
Okay,
if
that's
you wish to make a
that's
few
fine.
small ones. Alright, so go ahead and give me a roll with advantage, please, Queglod. And you'll be making 2 of these. Okay, 19. Good start. Very good start. And the second one?
One more.
Yep. Another 19. Okay.
Nice.
With the 2 19s, the first 19 is for general repair, the second 19 is for how adaptive you can be after using Felipe. I'm going to allow you to do a little bit more than just minor changes if you wish. Otherwise, you will have the time to
Okay.
heavy reinforce Pangolice if you wish. That's up to you.
Yes.
And actually, give me 2 separate insight checks. And this is going to be for Triceptor and Snokadile.
Just a chance.
And this is to see what type they are. I'll say Snokadile's on the left.
Yeah.
Okay, Snokadile. It's hard to tell, but it's probable that Snokadile is brawn. It makes sense, but there's the potential that he could be smart, but you're not sure. Triceptor is a smart one. It doesn't have the brawn to stand up to hits. It's not fast, but it does have intense strategy and coordination between 3 bodies.
Yeah, makes sense.
Moving next into this fight. Yuki Golem EX versus Collapse.
Oh, fuck me.
Alright, I'm waiting for this.
Oh, fuck.
We're done.
Alright. As entering into the arena, you see Collapse, the large ice worm fitted with the same reinforced outer ice shell and the packed snow on the inside of this creature. You see there's been a few changes to this. One, Collapse can no longer swallow foes.
Oh, no.
Collapse instead is just fitted with a maw that will chew you up like, I don't know, wrecking yard stuff.
Oh, brilliant. Right?
Oh, good.
And its body seems that it's lost a few tail segments, making it shorter.
Perfect. That's just what
Alright,
we want for
so-
our free.
Okay.
Oh.
As Yuki Golem X enters, carrying the warhammer to one side, the shield on the other, is more battle ready and prepared, looking less unarmed this time. And
Sort of turned it into a gladiator.
yeah, kind of turning it into a gladiator. A theme and something which a lot of people have seen here as Rook raises his weapon up, kind of making himself known. People cheer, and they recognize you and your companions, and they do cheer you on. However, they do not know you to be official Dawn Marshals as of yet.
And they cheer you on, the three people who no one knows are joined marshals, really, because they're
They're
That's
che-
true.
they're
To
che-
clarify, what we got
those
here,
guys.
we got Dawn Marshals.
On marshals.
Dawn Marshals.
Dawn Marshals.
Maybe
And then there's
Dawn Marshal?
the Dawn Marshals.
Got a higher claim to both. I've got a higher claim to that than both of you. If anything, I'm your seniors in this.
Yeah, fight me.
Yeah, you've got
I was talking to my two teammates, but okay.
Oh, true.
Yeah, Rook.
Sure.
Rook is well known in the arena, along with Bern, whereas Ghaakt has probably just been street busking, so people know who he is.
That's true.
He's been studying
I mean,
street busking for the past 3 weeks, so.
As they know.
All right.
Um,
So, going into this next match, Yuki Golem EX stands there, holding a strong posture and defensive stance. What is your first command?
hmm.
Do go with the block.
Get ready for some powerful thrusting.
Oh,
With a
yeah.
hammer,
Get ready to rumble.
the famous
do the-
thrusting weapon.
Block his mouth with shield.
Look,
Suppose.
anything is a thrusting weapon if you try hard enough.
Jesus Christ, Harlan. Jesus
So I
Christ.
guess we'll go with block with shield and then counter with hammer if necessary. When necessary.
Yeah.
Yeah, block its mouth with shield and then counter with hammer.
Hmm. Also look out not to get wrapped up like a snake.
Hello? Chris?
Hello.
You there?
Yeah?
Oh.
So you're just
Oh.
going to try and counter and feint, you said?
No.
No.
Block
counter.
mouth with shield and counter with hammer.
Attack body after it attacks.
Oh, okay. Right.
He
That,
has
that,
much
that,
faith in us, he
no,
wasn't listening.
that is effectively what I said. You're walking out with shields to make it look like you're going to feint with it, and then striking with your.
Well, it's not fainting. We're blocking
It's
its head.
not a feint. It's more of a
Okay,
counter attack.
so
Yeah,
you're gonna
we're
follow-
blocking its
okay.
head, then we're countering it with a hammer.
Okay. Did you want to be the white or black die again?
White.
Let's try the white die this time.
Okay,
We'll mix
white-
it up.
Okay. As you
A bit
begin,
more of a sugary move.
you move forward in a general gladiatorial stance, taking the defensive stance and holding the warhammer to one side.
There's
move
one thing I
forward.
learned from the last round is that we shouldn't try a bunch of dodge maneuvers when we're the brawler and not the speedster.
Yeah.
As
I kind of feel that's how that Matador thing didn't turn out so great.
as Collapse comes in, it's larger, it's heavier, and it's not going to burrow, as it goes straight for you, straight across this ice, almost like a snake, and it rams into you with its head. Your shield is shattered
Perfect.
Bah!
as it burns straight through it, burrowing past. You go to take a swing, and your warhammer glances off of the outside of this hardened
Yes.
shell, which is spinning. You don't land the attack, and as it continues moving on, you go for another swing. You hear a, and as you pull the warhammer back, it's fine. You look forward, and you can see a back portion of the tail that's cracked and broken. As it spins and it continues moving around, it goes up into a serpentine form and then proceeds to kind of barrow down on you, going in for a strike. You see it coming. And being a grappler, this thing being larger and being a brawn type, it's a little bit difficult to block it. So you take one step to the right, grab the side of its head, use the momentum to spin yourself up, and with a single hammer strike, slam down on another segment. As you hear further cracking, you are spun off to one side and you land, taking the damage of the fall. But you look at the hammer, it's fine. What is your next command?
Does it look like it has eyes?
No.
Probably not. It probably goes off by like scent or something.
Okay, so it doesn't have eyes.
Alright, so the hammer is extremely good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Counterpoint, if we win this round, we've got to outfit its other hand as a sickle and then call it the Cold Steel Comrade.
I see Chris is gonna kill it off now before we get into trouble.
For the the DM cries when the party goes communist.
Hey, I would love a communist campaign so that I don't have to keep
I mean,
money.
that's when we kill off the Emperor.
If you don't have money, you just get things.
It's just a case of we're constantly like
Everyone shares.
Every time we get something, it's like no. Communist society, you have to share that ring of speech. Every time you give it to a new person.
Under this, once I've killed the Emperor, everyone's going to get a ring of speech.
Attunement items become useless. Oh man.
Yeah.
Alright, anyway, what's your
Fine, we
command?
just-
I don't need that ring of speed. You're fast enough as it is.
Alright, so do we go for the neck or should we continue getting it smaller, going for the tail?
Headpiece looking.
Headpiece is unhurt.
Huh?
What did we crack then?
The body and the tail.
Tail.
The in the
Yeah,
tail.
so it's smaller now, right?
Its body is naturally smaller, yeah, so it's got fewer segments, but the body itself has a few cracks in it. The tail took a little bit harder of a hit.
Okay, so the hammer seems pretty good. So how about we use that to glance off its head attacks and then reposition ourselves and then attack the body and tail again.
Should we just keep trying to break this thing in half?
Yes.
Essentially.
Yeah, keep going for the body.
Use the hammer
Make
to
it
defend
not
if
be able to
necessary,
move
because
as well.
the hammer is a better shield than the shield.
Yeah, apparently
just-
so.
Just try and make it so it's harder for it to move.
Okay. As you
This thing,
go for the, oh yeah, we're just gonna glance off of its head, and Yuki gets into the position of this. This thing goes in for the strike with its head and feints as it swings its head back around, and the body, coiling and spinning, snaps into Yuki. Yuki is
Oh boy.
flung backwards far and into the wall as there is a crack, and you watch as Yuki is buried into the wall, pulls itself out and stands up. Looking at the back of Yuki, the cape is gone.
Oh no.
I was going
And-
to use that as a distractive maneuver, but
And the back of Yuki seems to be pretty heavily damaged after that strike. Yuki took a big hit, and as Yuki rushes forward to go for another strike, the tail swings in. It seems to have realized that you can use its head to its advantage, so it seems to be using the rest of its body to its advantage. This being now you figure out a smart type creature. Seems to have a lot more of a natural understanding of the strategy here. And as it goes in for the swing with its tail, you go to grapple a portion of it and you pull yourself over the tail. As it does so, it quickly flicks the tail up into the air and you slam against the spinning form and are driven straight into the ground as you spin round and are flung off. As it does so, the tail goes in for another strike, cracking next to you as Yuki rolls over. Yuki kind of holds itself in place, the one free hand and the warhammer. You look back at the warhammer, and it's just a stick.
Oh bugger.
Is it a sharp stick?
Maybe.
all right. So
it's a fair question.
we've got a stake now.
What's your next command?
Yes. Alright. I think we should go try and impale the head.
Yes, we
I'm
can impale.
trying to impale the head, but I mean, if it's learning that we're going to go for the head, then
Yeah, it'll
Maybe our
try
main
and swing the
attack
rest of the fight.
Started using its body.
it may be our main attack use our horns to go for the body, so it's preoccupied trying to defend its head, and it just be body on horns and brute
We
it.
were going for the body, so it started using its body.
Yeah. Oh. Alright, go for the head then.
So, for the head?
What's
Yeah?
the command? Go for the head.
Strike the head from under, I guess.
Alright. Going for the striking at the head. Wow, both of you did terribly. You rolled a nat 1, it rolled a nat 2. So, as you both go in for the attack, you rush up and you take a leap as you land 1 foot on the outside of the worm, and you jump up towards the head with the stake. You go to pin it in. As you do, it hits against the inside of it and just shatters in your hand. As it does so, the worm overreacts and spins to one way, and as it does so, you end up getting your horns caught in one portion of it as you chip out a tooth, land on your feet, and it pulls itself back and shakes its head slightly. As you both go in for your next attack, it now realizing you don't have a weapon, it's got the advantage. Burrows down with its head, going straight towards you. As you do so, cracking your knuckles, each hand jams on either side of it. The what looks to be the small teeth jam into your hands, but as you do so, you hold its mouth open and you begin to pull as you hear what sounds to be cracking of ice as around its mouth begins to tear. As
Oh
Yuki
yes,
begins to
keep
pull,
tearing its mouth.
as Yuki continues to keep pushing, but as it does so, the worm spins. Yuki flies off, landing to one side, losing its grip, looking down at its hand. They are not shredded, but the palms are a little bit damaged. Made of hardened ice, you're protected. Did some serious damage to the head of that thing, but it knocks you off.
And
What's your next command?
going to off the drill while we had it grappled, but now that we're out, the mustache
Alright, we
drill is
should-
our final
yeah.
weapon.
I think we should try where the cracks, where we should try and use the drill there.
Describe to me how this drill works, by the way.
One moment.
Alright,
Not
I'm gonna draw. So this is the head.
Don't send me a video because I can't watch it on stream.
So this is the head, right?
Yeah. There's the mustache.
Yeah, this is the mustache. It doesn't look like this anymore, no? Shut up, Chris. It doesn't look like this anymore. It looks like
Okay,
this.
I'm so scared and confused.
Oh, so you're telling me?
That's how the mustache looks like, and they spin.
Oh, my spaghetti!
Someone is gonna have to like show me, like, screen cap that and put it in the chat because I can't see it.
Hold on, let me do it better.
I got the stream up.
I know, but I closed it because there wasn't really much happening and it was slowing down my internet.
Oh, that's fair.
So it
I'll
turns out
screenshot
that,
it, it's fine.
turns out
So it's a flat boomerang on his nose, but it spins.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't think of anything better, guys. Yeah, did you
No.
Okay. So,
Welcome to our world of stupid bullshit.
so
Yes, pretty much.
as you go in and you
Something.
prepare
The
for
only
this,
thing matters is aesthetic and nothing else.
yeah, as
Oh,
you go,
God.
as you
Looking
go
good
in,
as half the battle.
as you go in for this, charging
Fucking
towards the
clock.
head of this creature, you definitely have the upper hand. It tries to move out of the way, and as it swings its tail around towards you, you grab it. The tail
Yes.
stops spinning as you lift this thing, beginning to swing it through the air. The enhanced ability really making a difference as this thing is
Yes.
lifted and hoisted off the ground. As you slam it down onto the ground, it's in a rough spot, and you rush up the side of it, moving towards the head, and you take that drill and you jam it into one of the cracks. As the spinning of the drill to take place, it also begins to spin. And as it does, the head of you is planted into the snow. As it pulls away, the shattering of one portion of your mustache occurs as it spins around and whirls itself back onto its feet, ready to go for another strike against you. What do you do? It took some serious damage from that slam.
Mm. So we still have. The best thing about this compared to the last fight is that we still have a free hand.
Yeah.
You have two
hands.
Half
of a
free
drill.
hands.
Okay, so it was just a hammer, not a hammer hand.
No, it was.
One of them is just like a stump now.
Well, no, it wasn't a hammer hand. You went for a held hammer. You said, didn't you? Because I asked what you wanted, and you said no. We don't want a hammer hand. We want a held hammer. And then you said a shield, and I assumed a held shield as well.
Yeah.
Remember, Chris, they get confused easily.
I know.
Yeah.
That's why I'm doing all. That's why I'm assuming.
You have to remember, I was away for when this happened, so I'm not sure what the outcome was on that decision.
Alright, yeah. So we have two
so-
free hands and half of our mustache. Okay.
And a horn.
We still have the horns.
This is
and the horn.
This is the Whitebeard fight all over again.
Which
Oh
one?
no.
That's a bad ending though. So
Yeah.
hey, at the very least you could cause earthquakes.
At least there's no cowardly fat man with a gun.
That's fair.
Led by Pirate
That's true.
Wario and his crew.
Yep. All right. So,
Yeah.
what is your order?
Alright. I think we grapple the mouth again and then jam the horns in.
Yeah.
Just
If
fuck
it
it
attacks
up.
with the mouth, we grapple it and then jam the horn. Yeah.
Okay.
If not, we just grapple whatever and then jam the horns in.
Okay.
Horns in and fuck it up.
Going for this. It goes for a head
Brace
attack,
for impact.
and so do you. You hold in place and you grab both sides of the
Tear it
wall.
apart with its own momentum.
And as you jam your horns in, you realize you've made a fatal mistake, as inside of its mouth is spinning violently as your horns are shredded like a wood shredder just eating the wood. And you pull
Oh,
and
it's
you
alright
pull
on the hands.
you pull the head back, and the horns are gone.
Fuck's sake.
They are now tiny nubs.
I think
We're
Chris
losing
against
one
us
weapon at a
having
time,
stuff. Yeah. Every time we
I
have
like
stuff.
this Hellboy reboot.
It's a wood shredder. What am I supposed to do? As you begin to attempt to tear against it, it pushes forward, and as it spins, it slams its tail against the ground, and you are hoisted up. As you lose your grip and you let go, it goes in with its maw, and you find yourself pinned against the outside of this thing's mouth. Each hand on each side and feet on the other edges, as the inside of the blades are serrating against the surface of your hands and your feet, as Yuki is taking a significant amount of damage. However, with this, you are planted into the ground, and now with your back against a solid surface, Yuki pushes and pushes, and there is a snap, a twinge, and a crack as you watch as the head plate snaps off of the outside. Now it is compact snow and serrated ice.
Yeah.
What do you
So
do?
What you're telling me is that it
Protect you
wasn't
now.
snap, crackle, and pop.
No.
Like that, this is turned back into what I initially wanted, which was to make Yuki a Greek oil wrestler.
Well, you did say that was your prime idea, so I wrote down grapples and punches as its main form of fighting.
Originally the fist was so it could do clinches, but then it lost that hand before it could do any clinches.
God.
I mean, the shield and the hammer was just like a thing to deal with this.
That what turned out happening is that our own hands and feet.
With a real weapon all along.
Yes.
Yes.
Alright,
just
what is
all
your
of
order?
Wrestling, the true.
Alright, so
Champions.
how are we positioned right now?
Are there any of its shell on the floor?
Yeah, there are, but you definitely couldn't reach for them. So this is its mouth. This is you.
Ah, okay, so we're doing the Hercules scene.
Yeah, pressing against all portions of it, but your back is against the floor.
Aha.
Right. So you said that its shell has fallen off, and there's
The outside of its mouth has fallen. The outside of its head shell has fallen off. So it's basically made up of. This should be the box tool. Yeah, it's effectively made up of train carts. Effectively, is the best way to look at it. And you've broken the shell off of the front one, and you've cracked the shell off of one of the middle ones and the tail.
Alright, so since its serrated blades are now exposed, shall we snap one off and start gutting it with it?
I'm a bit nervous about touching them.
It's true, they are still spinning.
Yeah.
It's not like it's your own hand.
Yeah, it's true.
Alright, so we could start peeling off the bits of the other ones, but then we'll just have a very angry, spiky thing.
Yeah, it's
Currently
soft,
back
soft
to the
snow,
ground.
isn't it?
Yeah, currently back to the ground. Keep that in mind.
And where is the
Let me give you
Where
another
is your
illustration.
boy tonight?
Oh, they're not in. I need to. I'm
No, I
gonna
can't see them.
That's
yeah,
you.
I'll screenshot them.
And this is it.
Alright, let me. Us. It. Let me screenshot this.
Yeah, that's basically what it is, and its mouth is pressing down on you against the ground. If it continues, this thing will burrow and you guys will go into its mouth. You guys will be shredded.
Okay, I think what we should do is that we should redirect its mouth to miss us. We should just like, hey,
Well, if
and
we're
then as
spread
it's
out, can
burrowing
we
in,
put its
attack the
mouth
body.
shut?
As it's...
You can try to. This
Try
is
and
why
put
I'm
its mouth
asking
shut
what.
and then
This is
smash
why
it on
I'm
the
asking.
top
This is
with
why I'm
the
asking what
last
the next
half of our
command is
Prill.
because.
Okay, so wait. Okay, so the sides of this thing are cracked. Can we try and push the top
No,
one
it's
to the
not
side, to one
cracked. This
side?
is packed snow.
Yeah, its shell's completely
So
gone. It's
Ah,
not
let me explain. So I need this one. This is the main head of it. Around the outside is the shell, except for the front where all the teeth are. Right? But now that outer shell is gone. It's just packed snow. And I don't know how it did that, but okay.
Well, why
So
not?
it's just packed snow at the moment.
So how about we try and shut the mouth, so pull it shut, and then damage the impacted snow? Because that would be quite easy for our fist to just pummel
Yeah.
away at.
Alright, sure. Yeah.
Mhm.
Cool.
Okay.
Out the way, then the rest of the body will be mostly unguarded, I think.
And
Yeah.
so that's your plan?
The body itself is quite a bit. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
We're going to snap the mouth shut.
Okay. Going to pull it closed. There are a few things which you realize. One, this is a jaw and breakable snow, and as your hands and feet snap off of this to try and pull it closed, it falls onto you.
Ah,
And you
I
realize
know we should
this
have redirected.
a little too late, and you go to roll out of the way. You mitigate a large portion of the damage, but you still take quite a bit of damage. And with Yuki now in a less than ideal situation, now being forced underground with this thing above it, it begins to tear into Yuki as Yuki is going and flailing punches. You can no longer see Yuki. Yuki can't hear your commands. I'm going to continue rolling to see who wins this underground fight.
Damn it, I know we should have redirected it.
Yeah.
Okay, here's what happens. A
Oh,
few
fuck, you
moments
close
go
a
by
worm's
of
mouth.
silence as this goes on. As you watch as the worm bursts forth, Yuki's nowhere to be seen, but there's a large hole at the back of its throat.
Oh.
And then you see as from the inside, doing the same thing as the frost block, Yuki is just pummeling from the inside. The second segment as the ice falls apart. As it does so, the segment of the ice falls out, and Yuki falls out and onto the ground. Yuki is probably on its last legs. But the ice worm is very damaged. This is a matter of the next hit matters. What are you gonna do?
Damn.
Alright, so its head is very vulnerable, right? Because it has no shell, right?
Its head has no shell, and its second segment has no shell, as you have shattered that off. However, its head is completely covered in these serrated teeth on the outside, and the second shell is badly, badly damaged. The rest of its tail and all that, not too bad.
Alright, we
Do you
should
think
go
we
for
should go-
this and
We
try and
should go for the
separate its
second
head from
shell.
the rest of its body.
I mean, here's the thing. It's probably going to suspect a small vulnerable spot, but this is all role-based, so it doesn't matter anyway.
I think
Yeah.
we should go for this and try and separate the head from the rest of his body.
Maybe.
This is
but
vulnerable.
Second shell.
the many times we've interacted with this head has been a bad thing.
This is not its head, though. This is the.
No, we're going for the second one, the one behind the head.
Oh, okay, I
So
see.
it's separating the head from the rest of the body.
Okay. As you yell out that command, Yuki Golem X takes that in its stride and moves forward as the tail swings round, spinning and covered in its ice shards, slams into Yuki. As Yuki is flung across the arena, Yuki manages to grab the ground, but you watch as one of Yuki's arms is gone and half the torso is missing. Yuki is in bad straits, but with a stride in Yuki's step, Yuki moves forward. However, as Yuki goes to take the strike at the second one, it slices off the second segment from the head. And as the head falls to the ground, the body and tail keep spinning and moving as they are going to spin round and strike you. The advantage of playing a smart creature with multiple segments is it still gets to attack. And as it does so, you find yourself in a difficult situation. You raise your arms as now there's two of them, effectively. The head's on the ground, flailing but unable to attack or move properly, whereas the tail and body spins, rolling towards you, striking against Yuki. The two of you interact. Cracks are made on the tail segment and the body, but Yuki is very weak. What is your command?
Alright, I think the only thing we can do is to make the two halves run into each other.
Feed the tail to the head.
Yeah.
Yes.
On the head, there's no.
Because the back can't see.
Yeah. The back of the head doesn't have the spinning things, right?
Nope, it is vulnerable, and it's currently flailing around and jumping to try and...
Can we try and grab that and ram it into the rest of the body? With the front spinning things, using them
Feed
as a
the
weapon.
worm to the worm.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's that one scene with the lawnmower versus the zombies. Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, grab the head from the back and ram it with the
Realize
spinning
itself.
weapon things into the body.
Okay, you go ahead and do so, and you grab the head. It's heavy still, and as you have only one arm, you lift it, and you're defenseless as the tail swings in, hits Yuki Golem, and Yuki is scattered across the arena.
No.
Yuki dead, baby.
Yeah.
Well, that's that then.
Yeah, would have been a better plan if you had two arms, but because you lost the second arm, that was a very difficult roll. So, Collapse moves on to the next round. Okay. With Yuki out...
Decisions.
Yeah. With Yuki out, and moving on to the next one, it is Triceptor versus Snowcadile. Triceptor no longer has the cloak, not needing it for any reason or another. Snowcadile is now very well prepared for the three centipedes as they move up. Snowcadile takes its position, roars out to its allies as one of the centipedes manages to get in close. Wraps around Snowcadile's legs and begins to gnaw against a portion of it. Snowcadile's not having any of it though, and reaching down with a single arm, grabs that one, lifts it up, and as the other two rush in, they grapple Snowcadile, stopping Snowcadile from doing any harm to its ally, who's currently flailing wildly, trying to successfully get a better hold on where it is. Snowcadile, being what it is, doesn't care less. And with its tail reaches up, slams the one that's holding its arm, and with a single thrust brings one of the centipedes down and crushes it into the ground below. One of them is down, pummeling it and crushing. It turns to the other two, the one that's knocked away and the one on its body, as it goes to reach for the one on its body, which maneuvers out of the way as it tries to reach for it, trying to reach for this very, very quick in close quarters centipede, as the other one gets back on its legs and proceeds to move forward as they begin to make strikes against it, slowly but surely whittling it down. Snowcadile's brawn. It's heavy, it's effective, and with a single lift up, it swings up to grab one, and as it does so, the tail swings under, striking the one running towards it and knocks it slightly airborne. Spinning around, grabs that one and proceeds to grab one end with one hand, the other end with the other, and parts them into two separate pieces of centipede, which it throws down. One is left. With this very, very gruesome display of the death of these, the other centipede is frantically squirming around the body, trying to take strikes where it can. And Snowcadile's doing a good job at harrying it, but not able to get it or break it, as it proceeds to do damage over and over again to Snowcadile, until finally Snowcadile reaches up, grabs it, crushes its head, and proceeds to part it down the center, scattering the two pieces on either side. Standing victorious, it nods to the crowd and leaves, going back in with the rest of them as Snokadar moves on. Alright. And Tarantula versus Razortail. Malcom stands on the other side, very much aware of Tarantula's dangerous nature. With Tarantula being in place and them both being speed types, he orders Razortail to move quickly, and with newfound tails with what looks to be hooks on the ends of them, and a generally slightly brawnier form to the base of the tails and the torso, Razortail rushes forward against Tarantula. Tarantula, however, still speeds its opponent, and climbing across the wall manages to avoid the attacks, jumping forward and preparing to spike Razortail. Razortail's having none of it though, and using its tails it flips Tarantula on its back, the spike jutting into the air as you see it just erupt from the tail and stop before retracting back in. Tarantula spins itself and makes itself upright again, remaining in place, as Razortail moves up, grabs the outside of Tarantula and tears a leg off before proceeding to parry the outside of Tarantula. One attack again and again. The tails spin in, carving off another leg. Tarantula's speed is lowering as it is not able to keep up as Razortail continues the assault. One again and again, biting and clawing against it. Tarantula moves back, now taking more of a defensive stance, the first time you've seen it do so. With that, Razortail rushes forward recklessly, and in preparation Tarantula spikes it. The spike goes through the base neck and across the back, leaving a large kind of bored hole through Razortail. But Razortail holds firm. In the light of what's happening, Razortail goes in for a bite, but Tarantula backs off, holding itself in its own posture and avoiding the attacks completely. Razortail is in a bad state, but moves forward, with one of the tails falling off midway from taking no damage seemingly. Razortail rushes up, grabs the outside of Tarantula and proceeds to ride on the back of Tarantula, left and right striking against Tarantula, but ultimately not doing any damage as Tarantula is shaking it off and just trying to hit it where it can, biting and gnawing against one of the tails. One of the other tails goes off, and with Razortail on a bad spot, it grabs the last tail, swings Razortail over, jumps on top and spikes Razortail straight through the torso into the ground. Razortail has the outer exterior of it shattered as it now remains there, its claws kind of in the air. It reaches up to bite the neck of Tarantula and goes in for two claws, and as it does so it holds Tarantula in place, bites the neck, severs the head, and with the claws raking around the outside of it does some serious damage to Tarantula. And with Tarantula holding firm, can't move, can't run, and with the spike stuck inside of Razortail, it has no form of offense. And with it now sat there vulnerable, Razortail just continues to wail on it once again and again as it wraps its tail around the abdomen of the spike, holding it in place. Tarantula hasn't got anywhere to go, and it continues to harry. As more legs are torn, more torsos are torn, Razortail ultimately wins the engagement, tearing it to pieces one little bit at a time, as Razortail moves on. So, who's messaging me? Virtle?
Sorry.
Stop sending me memes. This isn't the time.
Chris! It's not always the time for
Not
me.
the time for memes. Alright. Back to
Nice.
the only remaining players.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, other team.
What?
Do you want to play Collapse?
Let's do the thing.
Just,
Okay.
just
I want to
make-
have like a.
Fucking inept.
I want to have a background scene. Just like
How can we
the
make it
collapsed
sexy?
team.
No.
No, the collapsed team is sort of like backstage, like tuning up collapse. When all of a sudden the three of us sneak up behind them and like
Ambush them.
Just hit them
knock
over the
them
head
out.
with hammers or something.
them out, and then Ghaakt will cast Great Illusion on the three of us to make us look like the enemy team.
Going undercover, boys. Let's go.
I will let this happen because it's hilarious. I like that cannon. Alright. So, while they fine-tune Collapse and you now take the other team hostage, I guess. Pangolice, it's you versus Snokadial. Did you want to make any last-minute adjustments?
Yeah, well, obviously we're doing the major repairs. I'm assuming that's gone through.
That's
Yep.
Most.
I think our focus, from what we saw of Snokadial in the first round, I think our focus has to be on, like, improving our weaponry and our defenses. So, buffing up the claws and the teeth and the tail as best we can, and just improve it and, like, try.
Ooh.
Harlan?
No.
Harlan! Harlan! No.
Alright, so buffing it up.
Mhm.
That makes sense.
I'd say probably. Did Harlan say the claws didn't go fantastically?
They went okay.
They went
Okay.
okay, but he said buffing up the tail, the hide, and the claws, I believe was what he was going
Yeah, but the claws. Maybe if we get some like hooked claws on the end. Like
Okay,
a
Maybe
serpent
stuff
Medusa?
that you can use to grapple with. That's not
Yeah,
bad
yeah.
now.
Okay.
Yeah, just grapple and rip and tear.
Okay.
Love the term of lip and tail. Reminds me of Doom.
I mean, I guess what worked for the scorpion could work for us. So.
Exactly. Now, I will mention that I do have to go at 10.
Yeah, that's fine. That's why we're going to do this fight, then the next fight, then we're going to stop there on the final. So hopefully that shouldn't take too long.
Ooh.
So, I need to mark the individuals who are out of this tournament now, which is everybody but Collapse and Snokadial. Out of the relevant ones who aren't player characters. Alright. So, in this next match, Pangolice moves into the arena, Snokadial moves forward as well. Snokadial's had a few adjustments.
Ooh.
Snokadial's tail is heavier, and Snokadial's snout is heavily armoured. It seems to have taken the note that you're probably going to roll into it.
Oh,
be
jeez, it's gonna
expecting that.
flip us, isn't it?
So, what we're going to do is we're not going to do that. No.
We're not going to use our main form of attack, which we
Hello.
Hello.
I'm back.
Oh.
What's up? What's up?
You're just about to
We're
start
going
the
to
fight.
die.
Did we get our repairs and improvements
Yes, you
done?
got your repairs and your major improvements of buffing up the claws, the tail, and the hide.
Okay.
So, beginning of this fight, the two of you have moved into the arena, and you are prepared. What is your first command? By the looks of it, by the way, Harlan, because you missed that, Snokadial has had a few changes. The tail is thicker and heavier built, and the snout is heavier built.
Its only weakness was the underbelly, and I feel like this thing's going to be able to stop us if we go for a full-on roll. Do you think we can try and go for a roll,
Should we try and go for our like
an
another
unfurl
leaping
to
attack?
jump? Yeah, a leaping
and
attack
try and hit it in the middle.
in the middle with the tail.
The snout is strong, the tail is strong, so let's just go for the bits where those aren't.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all we can try and do.
We've practiced the jumping attack and it didn't completely
We
fail,
have-
so
We have done the jumping a
So
lot.
this is you're rolling forward and you're aiming for what again?
we're gonna roll like head on. It seems to be expecting that. So, and then just before we're gonna use the tail, unfurl and launch ourselves into the air and land on top of it.
Okay. So Chaos Dunk then. Alright. Did you want to be white or black? Sorry.
I got called racist last time, so it's go black.
Racist.
I mean, to be fair, last
Damn
time
it,
we picked the
not
white guy, we lost.
Okay.
It's racist out the way. One way you're saying that black people aren't good enough, black dice aren't good enough for you, and another way you're obviously exploiting black dice for your own gain.
I would like to say the white dice has black writing on it and the black dice has white writing on it, so it's
That
equal
is just
standing.
that is symbolism in the fact that we are all really the same on the inside.
It's almost like we're just reading a lot, really too much into this for an edgy shit joke.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Black dice has
Alright,
white
so-
humor.
Well, I mean,
As
this,
you-
this entire stream dies if we don't do edgy shit jokes.
I beg
It's
to
hard.
differ.
We've been doing it for the past
60
3,
campaigns.
4 years. Is it getting
Pretty
to 4
sure.
years?
Let's be honest,
getting-
the
it's
thing that
getting
makes these
towards
streams
it.
is Looney Tunes ass bullshit.
4 years for you
Mhm.
fuckers. Jesus Christ. What have I spent my life doing?
I don't know, you've got plenty of life to live.
Winning.
That's the problem. I often lose. My character dies at the end of campaigns, apparently.
You do die a lot, yeah.
Good to know. All right, as as Pangolice proceeds to roll forward, Snookedile, as you expected, was seeing it coming and ready to almost grapple and take you head on. As you jump into the air, Snookedile is ready and takes a step back. As you go for your swing with the tail downwards, it crashes into the snow in front of Snookedile. As Snookedile is there and ready, but doesn't proceed to make the attack straight away. As you then go into the next step, Pangolice goes in for its usual claws and feint. It ignores the claws and meets your tail with it, and its tail comes out stronger. As it has more momentum, it strikes into it as you are sent spinning off to one side. As you are battered, rolling into a pool for a defensive notion, Snookedile rushes forward for a claw, and as it strikes down on the back of your hardened shell, its claw ricochets off, unable to do any serious damage against you. What do you order it to do?
Emergency dick sucking. No, I'm kidding.
No.
Yes,
we
don't
can
you
work
dare
that.
steal one of Yuki Golem's moves. That was the one attack we didn't get to try.
Right. I'll be honest. I've got no idea what we've got here. Like, I think what we have to do is try and make it think it has the upper hand, because it does. And then
go for the groin.
and then go right for the groin.
Problem is, it's a snow monster and therefore doesn't have a groin.
It could be its metaphorical groin.
How is this?
can twist it.
It's...
Sorry, had to.
Bern,
Okay,
Bern
no.
rolled it. I was about to go, and then Ghaakt just goes, no. Let it sit. We need to stay incognito.
Okay. No, but getting serious now, our best bet is... This thing basically read our moves beforehand, right?
Yeah.
What we need to do, I think, is go in for our normal roll attack. And then, would it be possible to, fake a stumble? Do you think?
I don't know. Are you asking me or your teammates? Because I ain't gonna answer.
Is this as a feign or?
Essentially,
could,
it knows that it knows our usual feint. We need to change it up a bit. I don't think we can get this thing through just straight up attacking, because no offense, this thing is better than us. Or you know what? We could just go for a straight up attack and just be like, fuck it. If it works, it works. If it don't, it don't.
I mean, go for an attack and unfurl ahead of it and use the momentum to claw attack, since the claws are good now.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I mean, I'm okay with that idea.
If that can knock it off balance, then we can try and do a follow up.
Sure.
Okay, let's have a go with that then.
So that was full notion of that.
So we're gonna roll at it, and then just before reaching it, rather than slamming at it, unfurl and transfer the momentum into a claw attack.
Okay. Okay. Doing something a little bit more unpredictable. You roll forward at it, keeping your momentum, using your tail for the extra drive that you need. You spin to, you roll towards it, and as you do, you unfurl and go in for the claw attack. As you do, its claws meet yours, as you both collide with one another. Neither claws giving up, as no damage is done, and you are equally matched in that strength test. However, as you go in for the, as you kind of continue pushing forward, it lowers its head and goes for a slamming headbutt against Pangolice. Pangolice stumbles back, the two claws come in and rake across the underside of Pangolice's chest. Pangolice stumbles backwards now with some severe damage on the underside, and and quite a bit of cracking on the skull of Pangolice. Pangolice is not looking in a good situation, as Snowcadile doesn't take the opportunity to fail, steps forward and with a single tail swing cleaves into the side, smashing against Pangolice's side, as Pangolice is flung across the arena and rolls a little way, before Pangolice reverts back to his form and drives forward, going in for a full attack and expecting something tricky. Snowcadile goes in for a strike, expecting it again, but you just keep rolling, and you strike against the torso and the softer underside as Snowcadile is shot backwards. You going with it, driving it. Snowcadile loses its footing. Its tail gets caught as it gets spun and flung underneath you as you roll straight over it, spinning and turning around to prepare yourself again for another roll. What is your command?
I think our command just needs to be. I'd say just go full on aggression at this point. What do you think?
Press what little momentum we have with our attacking.
Yeah, go in for a roll. If it works, great. If it manages to stop it, just keep swinging.
We've got to not let him get his footing back.
Okay.
Just go in a bit fell, almost just start lashing at him.
Okay. So just keeping the aggression up then.
Keeping the aggression up, keeping it. That's just simple rolling at it, then just claw attacks and whatever.
Okay.
Sort of you can pull off.
Yeah. Going in and taking the opportunities you've got, Snowcadile stands up again and uses its one of its arms to try and block you as you roll in. As you do, you unfurl. Doing so changes the aspects of your roll a bit. As it ends, you end up partially rolling up it as the tail swings over the arm, striking Snowcadile on the head as Snowcadile takes a few steps back, unprepared for this. Snowcadile swings around with its tail to try and knock you to one side, but you use this momentum. The momentum you've got and the momentum it has as your claw catches the back of one of its plates, swings around off of its claw, and as you do so, your other claw rakes down, carving through a portion of its neck piece where it is. But this leaves you a little bit more vulnerable. As you are now slightly held in limbo up in the air, Snowcadile with its maw reaches forward and grabs hold of Pangolice on the underside with a lot of momentum. You hear cracking and splintering as you watch as the outside of your shell on the left and right of where your arms are for Pangolice are splitting. You can see shards of ice cracking and falling to either side as it is now holding Pangolice almost like a corn on the cob. What do you do?
Oh.
What can we do?
Some amazing crunches.
How
So where are we being held? The side.
You are being held on the either side of your arms. This means your arms are technically inside of its mouth. Your legs and your tail are free, and your head is free. But it is currently holding the general shell, meaning you can't just curl up into a ball or retract as it's taking bites down and crunching into your shell.
You say that our arms are in its mouth?
Yeah, rip and tear.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
Use
it's our only
the
real
tail
option.
use the tail to push away from it to try and get as much force behind it as possible.
Going in for the claw strikes on the inside, you rake across the inside of the mouth, dragging against the snow, and dealing some damage on the inside of its mouth, but it continues to crunch and crack. as you watch as a large portion of your front shell splinters. As you are now quite heavily without your rolling capability on the frontal portion of your damage. However, you've done quite a lot to it, and as it releases to go for a second bite, your tail swings around, clocking the bottom jaw as it snaps shut. As it does so, Snokadar falls back. Doesn't react. It just continues to fall back. And with this stream of advantage, you rush it. Your tail swings down over the top of it, and you slam its head into the ground, cracking against it. The top portion of its plating shatters. The top portion of the nose is vulnerable, and the bottom jaw, as it stands back up, hangs. No longer attached. As it stands there very angry, you see what looks to be the outside of the shell on the left and right of your arm, and the main portion of your back is pretty brutally gone. If you roll, it's going to have a lot less impact.
Okay.
Don't suppose this makes us any faster now that we've shed some weight?
Probably not.
Probably not, because it would be rough scales that would interfere with your streamlined nature of rolling.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think what we gotta do is we gotta go for like the I think we go for like a tail jump, like we I don't know how to do this. I think we go for like we attack with the claws, and like we do swipe at it. Whilst we're doing this, we're getting our tail underneath us, ready to push us up. I think we need, like, it's essentially, it's not so much a feint as it is a distraction. Like, we are...
Are we going to try and get ourselves underneath it, maybe?
No, I'm thinking we try and get ourselves up, doing our normal jumping maneuver, and bring the tail down onto that now weak, like, head portion.
Yeah, it'll suffer if it tries to use its head to... Our tail is still relatively undamaged, I think.
So
our tail is pretty
undamaged.
Yeah, so
our
we
tail
can.
is fantastic.
We just need to meet it tail first, then. That's probably a good strategy.
Okay. So using your tail over the bludgeon, were you aiming for anything? The head, you said?
The head is weak now, as you said. It's already greatly damaged. If we can get a good hit there, it might be the critical we need to take it out.
Okay.
That's my thought. I'm gonna leave this decision to Queglod as the only one who can actually roll and do things.
Well, she doesn't roll anyway. I'm the one who rolls.
I know, but it's like
I think it's a good plan.
Okay.
It's risky, but we're gonna need to be risky at this point.
Okay.
Since our defense.
With Pangolus on the ground, Snokadar looking worse for wear. Snokadar goes in for 2 claws, this time trying to grapple you again and hold you in place. As this occurs, your tail is brought up as you don't go to roll into a ball, but you roll forward. Your tail comes up, slaps the 2 claws away, and meets the end of the snout. The bottom jaw this time flings off, detaching and falling away. No longer able to bite in any manner, as the tail brings up and clocks it on the head. As your tail falls down onto the ground, Snokadar falls on top of you. Not unconsciously, consciously. And as it does so, it wraps itself around you, and the claws grip on the underside of your shell as it begins to tear, using you as the weight, pinning you down and peeling outwards, like peeling an orange. As it does so, it tears off most of your back plating. It is gone. And as it does so, it pulls back, stands up, and you see Pangolice. Snow, no ice shell. And the tail, still got the majority of its weight, but it is the only thing protected on Pangolice now. At this point, the rest of you would see what seems to be a beating core within the inside of Pangolice.
Oh no!
Oh no.
Don't go for the core!
No, it's fine, because you remember what the core does. It hardens the packed snow.
Yes! Oh, I do remember that, yes.
Yeah. What is your next command? As you are now
what
much
is
more
our
vulnerable
exact
to previously. You are standing, and it is standing, and you are face to face in melee.
I think what we've got to go for is we've got to like straight up go for just a good strong skeleton. I know it's what it's expecting. I know it's going to have something to do against it, but it's our best weapon right now. And if we are facing it with our tail, then our tail is at least a strong portion of us that is well defended. The rest of us is weak right now. We need to get this thing deaded.
So go for like a spinning maneuver, maybe.
Spinning maneuver is probably our best. I'd say like start off with a slash with the claws, and then turn that momentum into like twisting around with the tail.
Mm-hmm.
Just to basically, it's a bit of a feint, and it might fall for it, but it's not. It's mainly there for like getting momentum going.
Okay.
Yeah, let's give it a go.
I think it's our best option.
All right. Going in for that, spinning with the claws, followed by the tail, going into the feint. Snowcadile, now with your much lighter frame, you don't pack as nearly as much of a punch as you would like. As you go in for the 2 claw attacks, it's not scared. And it uses its 2 claws to bat yours away, and as it does so, it brings its tail round, meets yours before you can strike, and cracks into the back. You watch as large pockets of snow just scatter from the back of Pangolice with that attack. And as it goes to do it again, it wraps its tail round, lifts up Pangolice and slams Pangolice into the ground, a lot of the snow breaking and shattering off around as Pangolice is in a rough state. As Snowcadile does it again, wrapping around the tail, and with its claws it rakes across the back of Pangolice, tearing into the packed snow. And now, the ice knife dagger inside of it, revealed, it tears through, and is now very close to finishing off Pangolice. What do you do?
Okay, so is it on our back, or are we on our back or our front, or is it like, are we standing and it's going at us?
It's got its tail wrapped around yours, so you can't move your tail. It would have its foot probably on your head, and it's on your back with its claws tearing into you. So you're prone on the ground, and it's just tearing into you at the moment.
I think what we've got to do is we've got to destabilize its legs, get it on, and get it falling down. If we can destabilize it, then we can get out from underneath it. We can counterattack. Our bite is taken out because its foot is on our head. We've only got our claws as a weapon right now. We need to get out of that position.
Now, I'm going to say this now because this is relevant.
Mm-hmm.
If you shout that you surrender now, you can repair it to get 3rd place. If you lose Pangolice now, you're out. So it depends.
Go big or go home.
Yep.
Alright.
Go big or go home.
Okay.
I'd say probably, yeah.
I contributed.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
As you hold in place, and Snowcadile is raking into you, Pangolice shifts its legs, spins the other way. Not the usual way of rolling forward, but sideways. As it does so, your tail unravels from its tail, and you spin around. As your tail swings up, you crack against the side of Snowcadile's head, and it lodges as it sways to one side. But its tail swings in, meeting yours and knocking you back as well. You're both knocked away from one another, as you're in a bad situation, but Snowcadile comes out on top as you see your tail has lost its a large portion of the weight on it. Snowcadile stares you down. You stare it down. As Pangolice moves forward and swings with the tail, Snowcadile reaches up to grab it. You crack Snowcadile's claws, mostly breaking the claw, but it holds your tail in place. Now with the same superior command over you again. What do you do?
Okay, it's got our tail.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is going to be a bit of a weird one. If we take this thing's head, how bad's it looking? Because we've hit it with a lot of strong attacks.
You haven't hit the head since you broke it last time. You haven't succeeded.
You
hit it. Yeah, you hit it once when your tail hit the tail, and your heads went. But both of you went back in a little bit stunned. Its head's pretty bad, but its head looks like it might fall off soon. But you've still got maybe 1 or 2 attacks, and you've lost quite a lot of momentum on your tail.
Okay. I'm not thinking of doing the tail right now.
Still got your claws and your teeth.
Still got our claws and our teeth. That's what I'm thinking, Chris. is the head its weakest and most vulnerable point at the moment, do you think?
Out of its
Like, our
entire
most
body,
likely-
yeah, you haven't damaged the rest of it that much.
Yeah.
Its head's
Here's
probably
what-
one or
Go
two
for
hits.
it then.
It's probably
We
one
gotta
or
go
two
for it.
good hits away.
Okay. It's got our tail, and if it's got our tail, then we must have been facing away from it, right?
Yeah, you.
I'm thinking. Here's what I'm thinking. It's got a hold of our tail. We
Yeah.
curl up from underneath and come at its head from underneath with our claws and our teeth, because it's holding our tail. So we're gonna be pulling it towards us. If it either lets us go, or we end up like going straight for its head with our teeth and claws by like curling ourselves around our tail as per normal. We can use that to get a bit of momentum there. We can essentially push our claws into its head and start tearing the fuck out of it with our claws and teeth. I think it's a decent idea.
Yeah, we're gonna have to just maul it
We gotta fucking do it.
and just hope for a miracle
Yeah.
that something works out.
Come on.
Curling up, you swing upwards, and Pangolai swings across from this. The tail grabbed. Pangolai swings up, goes for 2 claw attacks and a bite. As it does so, the other claw comes in and grabs Pangolai by the neck. Holding Pangolai in place, the crocodile form of it holding you in place. Pangolai begins to scrape against the outside of Snowcrocodile's claws, but probably not being able to do much. And as this unfortunate ballad and turn of events comes to an end, you watch as Snowcrocodile slams Pangolai to the ground. The tail comes in and cracks as the ice knife on the inside shatters. The form of Pangolai mostly fades, and a large portion of its form dissipates. Pangolai is out.
Well, there you go. That's the 2 players that are here.
How close was the last roll, by the way?
The last roll was a 15 versus a 10, and I don't add modifiers. I grant advantage if they are good moves, and you had the advantage.
God.
Yeah, there are a few good times in that. You rolled a natural 20 when you needed to for the breaking off of that, for the hitting of the head on the jaw with the tail. But unfortunately, right at the end there, it was right at the end for that last thing. It was a 16 versus natural 1. I was like, nah, no way. So, with that fight drawn to a conclusion, Snowcrocodile still proceeding as the reigning champion. I think we will end there because it gives Sudz a chance to turn up and potentially snatch victory from the jaws of defeat or from collapse, which would be interesting. Collapse now has 7 segments rather than 5. For this one.
Well,
and due to the
we
nature
beat
of it,
the shit out of Yuki Golem X, like in terms of.
Due to the nature of it, because Pangolai is out, unless Collapse or Razortail is completely destroyed, you will still have a chance to play as Pangolai. Well, no, if they're completely destroyed, you'll still have a chance because you'll get a chance to rebuild.
Okay.
However,
I think we're going to rebuild Pangolai. Obviously, we're going to have to do a lot of repairs here.
Yeah, but we'll see where things go. Yeah, we'll see where things go. But regardless, I think we will end the session there because that was a good session. We worked through most of it, and we'll come back for the last round and then the finals for next week. So, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.